Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Survivors Complex. We have, we announced on Twitter, we have our special surprise here today. Sarah has dramatically transformed into Orion before our very eyes, and we're all just mystified.
Furious. Just
All right.
furious.
All right, that's one more. No, Ryan will be joining us today to hopefully reprise his role of Freeman before our very eyes, and we are happy to have him here. On that same line of thought, as part of that announcement, we didn't say anything last week, but Sarah will be gone for a few weeks to follow, and we'll have to keep you up on that because she just had her first baby, and we are very excited for her and want to congratulate her in this remarkable life step accomplished as an adult. And we couldn't be more happy for her, and we hope she gets to come back and join us soon, but obviously she's got more important things than playing D&D with all of us ridiculous people. So but we hope we get to see her soon. Just gonna quick go through all of our announcements. We have, as per usual, all of the recent shows from last week are up on YouTube. Again, apologies. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us with our technical difficulties we've had for the last week. Thank you to Savannah for figuring out how to get all that to work and all up on YouTube, and everyone else for helping make all that possible, and again, bearing with us. Hopefully it's all been resolved. We've checked our internet and everything. It seems like all the connections have stabilized, so we should be okay and good to go for today. But if we have anything in the future, if the problems persist, we will let you know. But thank you. All of the episodes, including whatever wasn't live, have gone up or will be going up on YouTube. I think they're all up at this point, or is there anything? Yeah. I think everything that you missed is up on the YouTube channel. Please check it out and enjoy. We will have Apocrypha on Monday, continuing our adventure there, and we will have Tidefall on Thursday. We're looking forward to the continuation of that story and see where that goes. And of course, Survivors Complex every Saturday. It's the hell that I've been locked into. No, I'm just kidding. I enjoy it. So I think that's it. Giveaway still going strong. Got less than a month left on that. I'm going to be doing that drawing in a couple weeks. If you've entered, make sure you keep entering. You have the opportunity to put in some suggestions for us of games you'd like to see us play. So do that, and you can get an entry every day if you do so. Make sure those are original entries, as my producer is reminding me. Do not just continue to put the same one. We can see who said what, and if you just can every day say D&D or your mom or something, we're going to know, and we're going to take away your entries for that. So looking at you, Henry.
Yeah, Henry, your mom is not a game.
But anyway, no, thank you all. There have been a lot of really great suggestions. I don't think anybody's done anything like that yet. So, but just a reminder. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Oh, we hit the tier for the stickers, so we'll be giving some of those away, in case you didn't know. We'll be showing off those pretty soon. Hopefully have those this week.
They're super sick, you guys.
Yeah, they're really awesome. I'm looking forward to putting them on everything. That entire wall back there is just going to be covered in stickers. The good thing I ordered 10,000 of them. Just kidding. But yeah, I think that's it. Anything else? No. Okay. So we will go ahead and jump back into not the World of Sarthia, but to the Twilight Realms for this episode of Survivors Complex. Last time that we met, your crew had been shanghaied and spirited away to the realms of the Fae, within the Twilight Realms and the Shadowed Desolation. you were captured and imprisoned within the tower of Turgelach, which is as you ended up finding out, the residence or the stronghold of the Queen of Witches. You were able to make quick your escape due to the help of your companion's father of Star's father, Ice, who appeared out of the ether, gave you your guidance, told you to meet him in the city of Bjornheim, within the Feywilds, where you would be given more information on what to expect and presumably a way to escape. You made faster escape out of the tower, having a brief run-in with the Queen of Witches herself, Queen Natalia, who taunted you and made some cryptic remarks about perhaps you would upset the balance of this place, presumably to her advantage. You escaped across the Shadow Desolation, making your way to the coastline to follow that south to Bjornheim. You had a run-in with a search party of denizens of this landscape, a collection of smaller shaded and darkened gnome-like entities. You were later identified to be shade gnomes, and a giant kin you identified as a Fomorian came down upon you, and you quickly dealt with their search party, escaping the rest and making your way into the Feywilds. It was there that you encountered a friendly-ish face, a Fey entity who named himself Iagla, who told you that to your mutual benefit, he could help you get to Bjornheim if you would help him skirt around some of the dryads of the forest that have been giving him a hard time. Him and his traveling zoo of horrors. You agreed and made your way to Bjornheim with the help of this individual. You were able to deal with the dryads of the forest that attempted to stop you through some clever tactics and threats and whatnot from your end, as well as some deception from Iagla himself. And as we left off, you had a adorable encounter with a pixie of the forest, or a sprite of the forest, a tiny boy who had not named himself, as he does not seem to have the ability to speak. He was friendly enough, and unfortunately, though, was frightened by some of the creatures, by some strange events that had transpired, causing him to accidentally unleash some sort of magic that affected Lil, transforming her into a toad. And the small boy apologized and did not seem to have the ability to reverse this curse that he had put on Lil. And as we left off after these events, you had just crested the hill and were looking down on the city of Bjornheim, sitting at the valley below. And that is where we pick up all of you with Iagla's caravan of brightly colored wagons cresting the edge of this hilltop. You look down to the rustic city below, sprawling a large expanse of this valley that you're cresting the edge of. You see these wooden spiked walls encircling an encampment of lodges and wooden homes, many plumes of smoke billowing from within, at the center of which is a massive longhouse that spans almost the entire length of the city and stands probably 100 feet tall or so. You see colorful streamers that are kind of being carried lazily in the perpetual evening breeze. And surrounding the city, you see fields and fields of flowers and large colonies of and clusters of kept beehives and this bee farm that seems to span the entire outskirts of the city.
I can't believe we made it.
I'm still a little worried about the bears.
Iagla said, oh God, what was Iagla's voice? Iagla says, oh, there's no need to be worried about the bears. They're mostly friendly enough. As long as we pay the toll upon entry, it should be fine.
Which is?
I've got it covered. You've helped me enough. He actually pulls out, kind of taps the coin purse or the satchel to his belt, and says, "You've all been very forthcoming and friendly. I would be more than happy to pay the toll to enter the city for the help that you've provided. I don't suppose any of you have much money to begin with right now."
Oh, no, unfortunately, given our circumstances, it's all elsewhere.
Well, as I had suspected, of course, I'm more than willing to help my new friends. I assume we might have some more business to discuss, and you might have more favors, or I might have more favors that you can do for me to make up the difference, if you wish. If not, I suppose I can help you, and we'll call it even from there, and we can go about our business if you rather. But we'll make it to the city first, relax, have a drink, and enjoy ourselves a bit. Hopefully make some money while we're here. He looks back to the wagon and sort of stirs the reins forward, and as it cracks, it move on. And he says, "And you should probably watch your friend. We might be able to find something to do with the curse or whatever that is. I'm sure there's some in the city that might be able to help." You see Lilibet in her toad form just still sitting on Didar's head, just ribbit. So the caravan begins to sort of rattle and roll its way down this hillside, magically propelled by whatever is steering it forward, down through these fields of flowers below and towards the city itself. There's this like omnipresent buzzing that encircles you as you are making your way down these roads, and there are a number of now worn paths in the road that lead between these flowers and this beautiful sprawling gardens that sweep out in every direction. You can see people tending to them. You see dwarves and halflings and common folk, much like yourselves, that are tending to the beehives, a lot of them wearing protective gear. But you also notice a number of other entities. You see full, bulky brown bears lumbering their way through the flowers, also tending to the gardens. They sort of stand up at the beehives, and you see them opening the doors and taking out racks of honey and sort of dumping off the bees and sort of emptying the honey into small ceramic jars and putting them back. These seemingly intelligent bear forms tending to the gardens as well.
Are the bears wearing any clothing?
No. I mean, they just look like normal bears. You wouldn't even be able to tell the difference if it wasn't for the fact that they are clearly working here.
Okay.
One off to the side is sort of taking a break and eating, and yeah.
So they're not like anthropomorphic bears; they're actual bears.
No, these are actual bears.
Okay.
Iakra continues to stir the cart forward, unless there's anything else you guys want to do as you're passing these beehives. They're all over the place again. It's akin to any city that you've been in Sarthio, with farming communities outside of the city. This is what their farm, which is bees and honey. And as you're approaching the city, you're getting more of the scale of it, and it is a very large city. The walls themselves, these built from the trees, you imagine the surrounding forest, which again, putting in perspective, each one of the trees stands as large, or not, if not larger than a redwood, spanning hundreds of feet into the air, and with a circumference large enough that it would take you close to a minute to walk around them. And the wall of the city is actually built, as you can see, from these pieces of lumber, and is equally impressive to match. And as you make your way up to the gates, they stand open, and there are currently a collection of individuals that are standing guard at the gate, letting people come in. You see 4 black bears wearing armor that are currently standing guard at the gate, leaning on tall, halberds.
Oh, bad. Sorry. That was...
I'm just waiting. All these puns, they're gonna come back at some point. Just be ready. But he stirs them up to the gates, and one of the bears comes lumbering forward, kind of leaning on the halberd. As he approaches, the metal armor clanking together, the bear stops, holds out a paw, and stops the cart just as Yagla approaches, and kind of Toll holds out a paw. Yagla says, "Oh, of course," and reaches into his bag and pulls out a glistening handful of emeralds, which he hands to the direction of the bear and drops into his paw. The bear takes them, enter. Takes the handful of emeralds and puts them into a satchel that the bear has on it at its side, and he stirs the cart forward into the city.
Can we live here?
Yeah, but just wondering, for trade here, does the whole city just use gemstones, or are coins accepted anywhere?
Looks to you and he says, does your land use... Are you one of the ones that use gold as currency? I get so confused. We have many travelers that come through here.
Gold, silver, copper coins.
All right. Gold isn't going to get you very far here. It's a bit common, used pretty much everywhere, and it's not as valuable as it might be where you come from. He holds up, reaches into a pack and flicks you a coin-shaped object, and as you catch it, you realize these emeralds are sort of carved or in the shape of kind of small coin-like or ovular pieces. And you look at it, and it actually does have engraved on it sort of like a symbol of like a bear paw on it. And he says, these emeralds are used as the primary currency for Bjornheim and the surrounding area, but the currencies are used across the different kingdoms. Emeralds are the common currency for Bjornheim. The sapphires for Obhain, pearls for, where you came from. Well, I'm sure you don't want to go back there. And diamonds for Cathasolas and the Starlight Mountains and surrounding villages in that area. So I don't know if you happen to have those on you or have any abundance of those. Are these objects or gemstones more valuable in where you come from, or more plentiful?
One of these would get you a fair amount of gold for where we're from. I flick him back the coin.
He says, again, I don't understand the gold thing. You just find it everywhere. He says, I suppose I'm used to own, and he tokes it, and he says, if you need any spending money or anything while you're here, let me know. I have a little bit to spare. Like I said, you've been very helpful to me. Obviously, don't go purchasing too much. I don't have that much right now. And speaking of which, I should probably find a good place to set up shop. And he stirs forward. And you can see as you enter the city, it's pretty open. There are a number of cottages and small huts kind of scattered around the outside, but for the most part, it's there aren't many standing structures other than this massive longhouse at the center. Surrounding it, however, are hundreds of tents that are set up. There are traders that are set up in the tents. There are, looks like, people coming through that are staking their tents out for the coming festival that you've been informed of. And it looks like there is a bit of hustle and bustle in this very busy area of the city. But there aren't very many permanent standing structures around you, other than this massive longhouse and a few other places here and there. And Iago stirs the cart forward and finds a relatively empty area, a place that hasn't been claimed too much, and brings the cart around in a big circle, kind of forming this little this semicircle here with the cages for the carts, and pulls it to a stop, and the whole thing comes to a rest. He sort of hops off and claps it off and says, "Well, all right. We're here then. I don't know what business you have in the city. If you need me to point you anywhere, I've been here a few times. I know my way around."
Does anyone else here remember if Isaac told us to go to a specific bar or tavern?
As your DM, I can tell you that he didn't.
Just wants to be sure.
Yeah, he just said go to this place. He'll meet us there.
Somewhere we could go to, perhaps sit down, find a drink or some information would be nice.
He says, "Oh." And he just sort of points over his shoulder to the massive building behind him, the longhouse. He says, "You'll probably want to go there then." He says, the Bear King's Hall is sort of stands as the meeting area, and I guess a tavern would be similar to, except on a larger scale. Trade, pretty much everything goes on there. So if you're going to find anything or a person, that's where you want to go. But I'm going to get things ready here and start setting up shop a bit. Hopefully earn some coin while you're all doing whatever you need to do. I'll set up some tents too. I'm going to stay pretty close. I have some extra space, or a few extra tents if you need a place to stay for the evening as well. If not, you might be able to find rooms or a place to lay your head elsewhere. Before you leave, though, I do have a question. And he turns to you, Sadel, and he says, "Do you think you could help me with something?"
Well, it depends on what you need help with.
Well, I've noticed your companion, and he points to Didar. He says, "I've never really seen anything like that. Did you? Is that Is that sort of creature common where you come from?"
Oh no, not at all.
No? So not many creatures made of metal or like that where you reside?
No, not. It's not common. You see them every now and then, but they're pretty rare.
I just want to whistle for Reginald to come out of wherever he's hiding.
Yeah, and he sort of...
where he's been.
Probably in your bag. He's not very large, so he just sort of crawls out, and the mechanical spider sort of perches on your shoulder. It's like gears clicking. And Iago looks over and says, "All right," not knowing whether or not Sada was telling the truth. But he says, "I hadn't seen anything like that at all, except for shortly before I found you. I came across something very similar, and it hasn't been really doing much, and I was hoping that you might be able to help me figure out what's going on with it." And he quickly goes to like the back of the cat, or the back of the cart, and he rips off the tarp that's covering it, and you see hunched in there, kind of curled up, not moving, is a mechanical humanoid form, and you recognize this person. You see Freeman in the back cart of this wagon, not currently moving. He says, "It hasn't. I found it when I was picking up some new attractions out in the wastelands, and like I said, it hasn't really moved, and I don't know if it's broken or if it's what. You all have strange looks on your faces."
Freeman?
What's a Freeman?
Well, that's a Freeman.
That's his name.
Oh, it has a name.
This is actually a friend of ours, who I wasn't expecting to run into now.
I'm so sorry. I just assumed. Are they okay?
Sada, Dan, do you want to take a crack at?
Where did we land on healing Freeman?
I think
It's been a really long time.
I think the last time we talked about it, we decided that the mechanical circuits of the Warforged were susceptible to healing magics and could be
great.
healed through normal healing magics.
I'm gonna try to heal him. Does he look like broken? Or injured?
Yeah, he looks pretty broken.
Oh no, Freeman.
He's in a rough state. You can see a lot of the plates are sort of bent. His arm is sort of in a weird, contorted way. He looks like he has seen much better days.
I'm gonna do a 4th level cure wounds.
Okay. Go ahead and roll healing on that.
Is that 48?
Yeah.
Wow. 25.
25. Okay. So Freeman, you regain 25 hit points, and you all see as some of the mechanical pieces sort of click into place, things beginning to reorient themselves as the magical circuits flare to life once again and begin to create this sort of repair process across Freeman's body. And the lights for his eyes sort of kind of flicker a bit and come on, and Freeman comes back to consciousness. And Freeman, as you open your eyes, you see everyone standing around you as you are now inside like a cage.
Am I bound?
No, you were not bound. You were just sort of thrown into the back of this cage.
I will come to my feet and try to like grab the bars, but one arm is not working right now. And I just grab the other bar with my working arm. Like, well, there you are.
Well, let's get him out of there.
Iago says, "Oh, I'm so sorry," and he goes to the back and begins to open up, kind of fiddle with the keys a bit, and finds the right key and opens the lock and swings open the door so Freeman can exit.
Is everyone all right?
Yeah, we're just fine. Are you all right?
What happened?
It's kind of a story, I guess. I mean, we kind of... you want to talk here, or you want to go someplace else? Like, what? I don't know what I was doing in the cage just now. But thank you for getting me out. I appreciate it.
This man comes in and walks up to you, and you see before you someone that's unfamiliar to you, as the whole place around you is unfamiliar. He's in fine kind of silk clothing, a little bit of like an ascot wrapped around his neck, beautifully adorned in golds and bright colors, but wearing a porcelain mask of an elven face. And he just sort of waves his hand in front of you, and you can see his sort of long fingers with an extra joint at the end and these sharpened nails just sort of, he says, "I'm so sorry. I did not know that you were acquainted with these people. I hope I have not offended you in any way by keeping you in that cage. I didn't know who or what you were when I found you.
I wound up where I meant to go, I guess. So, no harm, no foul.
Right. It's a pleasure to meet you then, Mr. Freeman. And he says, my name is Yagla.
Well, thanks for scooping me up.
Of course, any time. And he sort of steps back, and you can see he's very sort of thrown off by this very large metal man standing before him.
Someone fix my arm.
I got it.
Thank you. Holly popped it out.
Yeah, I'll am I able to just like pop it back in place, or is it going to?
Yeah, well, you can see that one of his, the arm itself has been disconnected, near the wrist, and it looks like it was done like intentionally. I mean, it looks like some things, bolts and things were loosened, and it's easy enough. You can sort of push it into place and then have somebody hold it while you tighten some of the mechanical bits and gears and get it back functioning. It maybe takes like 10 minutes. So cool. If there's any more conversation, we can assume that's happening in the background.
It's good to see you're all right.
So, what happened to you anyway? I'm surprised you're here. Do you know where the rest of the crew is?
I do. They're at the Ember Citadel. I was being taken there myself. But Holly and I, we thought maybe I might be able to get away. Give word to y'all. But I don't know how I found you, but I guess there's some fortune in this world.
Are they all right?
So far, everyone was chained up, myself included. Scooped up by those shade gnomes. They led us to this large, dark onyx city. It's well fortified. Soldiers on patrol. Anyway, with Holly's help, I got free. She popped this guy out and was able to slip out of my manacles, but I didn't get that far.
Do you know? Continue.
Well, these gnomes, they got giants working for them. Of all kinds. I tried running, but they're bigger and faster.
Sean, I was unconscious for a while. Do I know where this place is? Relative to where I am, or?
Do you know where the Ember Citadel would have been within the, do you know how far away it is or anything like that?
Or any information. Do I know anything?
I'd say you have a general idea. If you were back in the Shadow Desolation in that region, you could probably point to the mountains that it's at the base of it. From where you're standing right now, it's just forest surrounding you. You can't really get an idea of where you are. But Yeah, I'd say if you saw those mountains again, you could
Okay.
navigate back there.
So for right now, I'm disoriented. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I couldn't get away on my own. I tried. I did. I guess someone's still looking out for the crew. Brought me to you all.
Do you know what they were going to do with all of you?
I didn't wait to find out. No one said anything.
I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
I expect it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Same
There's
here.
not much good that comes after shackling people up. I don't expect a chicken dinner at the end of it.
The entire crew was there, though, right? That you could see. No one was.
Myself and 11 others. I didn't see anyone die.
Well, Captain, we know that they are alive at this point.
We know they were alive and Freeman left.
I don't know how much time we have, but I do know you all know that I'm really good at assessing situations. We can't just come at this head on, like we may have done in the past. There's too much. It's too well defended. We're strong, but we gotta come down at the weakest point.
How big was the city itself?
200.
Good to know. Okay.
As it was big enough that from your perspective you couldn't see the entire city. You were coming at it from an incline, or you were coming at it from a lower elevation, and you could see the city itself sort of spanning the mountainside, probably a couple miles across, and it seemed to extend back into the mountains, and you could see plumes of smoke. You get the impression that it was a very large area that it spanned.
200.
It's quite a city. Well,
I would take you there, but I'd recognize it if I see it. But I've been out for a bit, so
We're a fair distance away from the Shadow of Desolation anyway right now.
We have a map.
I'd like to look at that.
It's not a great one, but got it.
Well, why don't we go somewhere where we can sit and talk in a more private way?
Guess we could go into the longhouse.
Seems like the best option for now. Yagra, thank you for all you've done. It's been far, far too much.
he sort of adjusts his mask a bit and he says, of course. I'll be out here for some time, at least until after the festival. So stop by. You can see the show a bit. And I'll, of course, for your help here, I'll share any profits that I come across. Thank you all too. And he goes back and begins to adjust the some of the tarps and rips off one of them, and you can see this the large displacer beast that was in it kind of howling and snarling as it's exposed to the brighter light here, and people begin to sort of see that and come wandering over. So you guys heading towards the longhouse? Okay. So with Freeman in tow, taking everything, Didar, Lilifrog, Todabet.
We need to put Todabet somewhere safe, I think. I'm a little worried about her up there on Didar's head.
Yeah. And you can see your little sprite friend still like with her and like sort of incants a bit, and like there's a spark of energy and nothing happens, and just like visibly frustrated. Can't fix it.
I'm gonna second wind.
Yeah, you can do it.
Or hanging out.
Yeah.
And I'll get back 12 HP. So cool.
Sort of patch yourself up a bit more.
I can heal you some more.
That's all right. I just need to relax for a bit. Save your strength.
We can say though you could bring Didar and Todabet with you into the longhouse as Freeman is sort of tending to some of his wounds and patching things over. Actually, what happens, Freeman, as you're being to leave, Iago says, "Oh, wait one moment," and comes around the cart with a very large object in hand, has a halberd, and says, "I found this near you. Does it belong to you?"
Oh, I mean, I guess in a roundabout way. Thank you. You've pulled my rear out of the fire twice today, or however long it's been.
He says, "No problem. I was hoping to make some money off you, but none doesn't matter now. You can have that, and we'll call it even for the misunderstanding." And again, sort of slinks back away from you. This now armed, very large metal man.
All right. Well, I'll give him 10 gold for his trouble.
Okay. You reach into the little bit of bag, you take out the gold and sort of hand it to him.
Just thanks for the ride.
Of course. Takes the gold in his hand. As Freeman turns away, he sort of looks at the gold and sort of shrugs and just tosses it in his bag. Doesn't seem overly enthused. It's like getting handed like a piece of gum or something to
Yeah.
But he puts it in his bag and seems cordial about the situation. It's just hard to read because of the porcelain mask, but turns back to his cart to so you begin making your way into the towards the entryway of the longhouse. There are a number of doors surrounding that all lead in, and people are coming in and out. Again, you see a lot of different types of people, mostly dwarves, halflings, and bears. You see some humans too, wandering around, and a lot of bears. You do notice a couple of things as you're heading into the longhouse, though. So for those of you with higher passive perceptions, I'd say anyone above a 15, you notice that people are giving a lot of attention to two of the members of your party. Star and Sato are... it's weird because you have Freeman with you. And, one of you's a Triton, one of you's a Tiefling, and I mean, you look are actually the most normal here, Tova. A lot of the people are dressed very similar to you, kind of simple clothing, leathers and such, and a lot of humans. Nobody really pays much mind to you, but for the most part, a lot of attention is directed in the way of the two of them. And I see Dan, you probably pick up on this the most. I think you have the highest passive in Star, kind of second, or you're
I'm
up there
tied
too.
with Den currently.
Okay, yeah, the two of you. It doesn't look friendly. It looks like sneers in your direction and in Saddle's.
No offense, but the last time this happened, it was when we didn't know we were wanted criminals in an entire town.
Given what we know about this place, or from Graldar, perhaps we're being seen as agents of the Twilight Mountains while we're here. Citadel is of elven descent. We know that the Fae who migrated there were originally elves, and if they've been pulling Tabaxi through for years, then a fair few will probably travel through the city at some point.
Alright.
Do you want me to ask?
Probably not for now. Let's just go where we're going and see what happens first.
I can ask softly at first.
Let's just be careful.
Yeah, let's be on our guard.
If something kicks off, I can get myself worse. And if you can saddle, and we can regroup later. Not to discount your saddle, but you're not quite as quick.
All right. And I think as you're finishing this bit of your conversation, you step in, kind of pushing away through the crowds bit and into the longhouse. As you enter this building, you see a little bit of what Aga was talking about. It has the interior, this feel of a tavern, though massive. The ceilings and the rafters stretching hundreds of feet above you. You can see the arching rooftop above, and echoing warmth and livelihood from within. There are scattered throughout sections of this 600, 800 foot long building that have tables and bars, massive kegs of mead and ale being tapped and served to customers throughout. You also see further in, there are some shops and small little booths set up with traders hawking wares to passers-by. There's food being shared. There are massive fire pits with spit roasted boar or deer currently turning upon them, giving off this wonderful smell of cooked meats, and this lively atmosphere. You see sitting at the tables people and bears enjoying drinks, and across this hall more and more of the same, just kind of spanning on and on and on until at the far end you can make out this raised section, like a stage at the far end of this hall. And sitting upon the stage, there is a sort of a lord's table with a bountiful sort of feast splayed across it, and people sitting at the table eating, or actually at that table, no people, bears mostly sitting at the table eating and drinking. All of them much larger than the others, most of them like the size of grizzlies or bigger. Some of them wearing colored sashes, some of them wearing armor, and sitting behind them or at the center of this table in this very grand throne made of wood and antlers, you see a man that sort of dwarfs most of them by comparison. You see what you think to be a bear at first is a elven maybe looking figure, rotund and wide as he is tall, has a thick, bushy beard that spans down until it tucks behind the table. He has this sort of scornful look across his face as he sort of stares out over his hall. And on his head, he wears a crown or a garland of leaves and berries that sits upon his or crests his head. And he is currently sitting there at the table and eating. And you can see this sort of amalgamation as he reaches over, and you see a large hand that is covered in fur with sort of pointed claws at the end. He does look like half bear just by size and just general appearance.
Seeing his hand is going to give me some pause for thought. One day he will actually kill Star for these puns, but it will still be hilarious and totally worth it.
Buddy. So you see the Bear King sitting at the end of this hall, though they're very heavily guarded and with many people around him. But all throughout this hall, shops and tavern interior for you to sit and converse if you wish.
You don't just like happen to see Star's dad sitting at a booth, like.
You don't. Actually, make a perception.
I was given people's reaction to me. I was gonna look for something different, given how Star's done this before. I'm going to look for someone who looks maybe human dwarf, wearing the sort of similar black coat he had while rescuing us. Let's say pale skin, similar sort of colored, similar sort of white hair. See if there's anyone sort of fitting that description around.
Interesting.
I haven't used that disguise before.
You make a perception check too.
I ordered poutine for the table. Come on over. Who are your friends, Star?
It's like meeting your dad at Chili's.
I rolled a 12.
Okay. 12, you look around, you don't see any tabaxi in the area. You don't see any tabaxi in the area. Star is 16. You do scan the room, and you don't see any tabaxi, but you do see a human sitting at a table not far from you. Has some similar... you see them, and you recognize some of the things you're looking for. Shaved heads, tattoos running down the side, has sort of braided hair with bits of like metal work kind of woven into it down the back of his head, similar to what you saw your father had. You see what you're looking for. But he does appear human, has the hood back. Does not seem to be paying any attention to you at this moment.
Okay, for now I'm just going to sit with everyone else and keep an eye in that direction.
Okay. So, you all sit down at a table.
They're like distinct like servers or like waiters or like any sort of people like that.
Like people serving, you're asking?
Yeah.
There are. As you are actually all sitting down at the table, you can see that there are a number of smaller looking bears that are making their way between the tables, and one, as you all sit, comes kind of lumbering up and sort of sits itself right at the edge of your table with a little bit of gap. And is currently wearing this greenish like tabard, and kind of in a very low growling voice says, "Food, drink."
Should we get something, guys?
I can go for some food.
Pal, if you're talking, we can't hear
You're
you.
muted.
Of course. With the night that we had, or the few days that we had, I think we should all get some food.
You have ale?
Mead, maybe?
Drink.
Yeah.
Drink and food, please.
Food and drink. And kind of goes lumbering off.
So what, we just sit here and wait?
I don't think we'll be waiting too long if my hunch is correct, but I need to survey the thing. Survey things first. I'd like to try to find out why myself and Phil will be near that or near that in the street. And we need to be concerned if anything does happen in here. Do I need to say my sentence again so people can hear?
Okay, I think we're
That's
trying.
way better. I don't know what changed, but that's way better.
I don't know. Huh. Sorry about that, folks. Perhaps we should wait a while. I'd prefer to find out why people were sneering at myself or Sadal. I'd prefer to avoid things kicking off by attracting unwanted attention as well.
Yeah, is there anything we can do to hide your appearance, maybe?
I have a spell, but it only lasts about an hour, but depending on what we're doing, that's all we could need.
As long as we keep to ourselves, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, I just want to take a look at that map if you got it.
Sure thing. I'll hand over the map.
I'll move us back to the map page. So you can see it. Yeah, as he puts the map out for you, if you look it over, Freeman. What are you looking for anything specifically, or are you just trying to mark where the?
I'm trying to look for like landmarks that I recognize, anything that might indicate this location.
Yeah. Are you proficient in any sort of navigators, tools, or anything like that?
Let me see. Nope, just chess, vehicles, and smithing tools,
All right.
and killing things.
Just make a.
Just making things dead and playing and driving a truck. That's about it.
Good old country. Yeah, go ahead and make a. Just make an intelligence check for me.
Okay. I'm fairly smart.
Yeah, it's not going to be a high DC.
What do I click? This isn't. I thought this would be. Oh, there it is. It's the actual word.
Yeah,
So I got rolled a 13.
13. Okay. It probably takes you a bit. I don't think you could. There's some gaps in your memory. Obviously, you don't know how exactly you got from point A to point B, but you are able to mark on the map roughly where you were when you started or you got captured, or at least when you woke up in chains, and where you moved to, and about where you escaped and then began to run. Luckily, the map does have marked roughly the whereabouts of where the Ember Citadel could be, but you do notice some discrepancies in the map, and you're able to maybe fill in a little more gaps there with that roll. So I will essentially I'll just mark for you where about you were. So I think when you were captured, you remember coming to just at the base of like a tower.
Okay.
You remember seeing the ship, and all of you recognize a little bit of that description. It's where you guys were as well, except you were in the tower. And then you were marched across this landscape and then up in this direction, So across some of the rocks in between some ruins, and there are some ruins that you mark that you remember passing. You remember seeing some small fortifications and groupings of giants kind of huddled in these areas, kind of as patrols or guard stations. And then you saw the citadel in its mountainous perch.
I mean, that's the best I got right now.
Well, it's something we can work with, so thank you.
At this point, as you guys have been working that out, there is a kind of a doof, doof, doof as the bear comes lumbering up again. On its back is a tray of drinks and food that is balancing kind of near its shoulder blades. And as it approaches, it does sort of a maneuver to grab it with one paw and then brings it around to the table and then slams it up onto this wooden bench that you're sitting at. And there are tankards of ale and mead for all of you. Actually, I'd say there's probably a cup for each of you, or a tankard for each of you, and then 2 big pitchers, one with ale in it, one with mead in it, and then a plate of meats and stewed vegetables and a few chunks of bread, and just a hearty kind of meal pulled from the various areas that food is being cooked. Slams it down.
I think I slide my ale towards Den slowly. And yeah, I'll do that for now.
You don't have any champagne or prosecco or anything?
Just remember, we're making sure to spend lightly.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, I can't taste any of it, but I sure do like the bubbles.
The bear just... Food. Drink.
Yeah. I figured as much. Thank you.
The bear now holds out a paw to the table. Pay.
How much?
The bear sort of thinks on a moment, looks over the table. 2.
Does anyone have emeralds? Any of our spellcasters?
No, but
Just pop out my eyes.
Iago was gonna let us borrow some money. So
we could run out and get some money from him or start a tab. If the bear understands the concept of
tabs, yeah.
We pay when we leave here. You keep our food and drink on a list.
the bear looks at you and says, "Tab," and he turns away and walks back towards the bar.
I think you insulted him.
You're not being thrown out, so I still call that a win.
We should probably go and get some coinage.
Also, I think your bar is really low. A star. But I agree. In this case, I agree.
Well, I can. I'll run out there real quick and get some emeralds from him.
I'm gonna go with you.
Okay. Are you going now, or are you waiting until? Okay. You guys leave the hall and very quickly begin to make your way back. There are some sort of groupings of bears and humanoids that you pass by. Saddle, as you're leaving, there is a human man, very tall and broad-shouldered, that you get the sense very deliberately sort of shoulder checks you as you leave the hall very quickly, like kind of intervenes in your path and bumps into you and sort of growls in your direction as you pass, and under his breath you hear him mutter in Sylvan a very offensive word that would translate into the equivalent of a common phrase or knife ear or something like that. Offensive Elven word.
Well, somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning.
Why don't they like you and Star?
I don't know. Sometimes people are just a little rude to us older folk.
Let's take it on the assumption that it's because you're old and not anything else.
So you go back to the wagon, and Yagla greets you and says, "Is everything all right?"
We just were wondering if we could take you up on that offer to borrow some money. Because we're all hungry and...
Oh, of course. I should have given you some before you left. I didn't even think about that. Of course. And roaches around and takes out 5 of these emerald tokens and hands it to you. He says, "That should, I assume, get you enough. If you need any more, please let me know."
Oh, he's just asking for 2 right now.
Well, take the 5, and if you need anything else, it'll be enough. Trust me, I've got plenty to spare. Looks like business is good. He looks back towards the wagon. You can see a number of dwarven children that are kind of going up to the bars and peeking in as there's howling and growling from inside. They get kind of scamper away, and you see that there is a small sort of bucket on the ground that some people passing by, or as they leave this encirclement, are dropping some emeralds into.
Well, thank you. It's much appreciated.
Of course. I'll be here if you need anything else.
Could I ask you a question?
Certainly.
Since we've been here, we've noticed that the people in the city don't take too kindly to Sadell or Star. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I assume it's because your friend is that Star's Tabaxi, and you do have, looking to you, Sadell says, you do appear to be the most pure-blooded, or very close to being pure-blooded Fae. Not many like you reside here. Most reside in Uphain or Cathis Alas, upper class. People here are simple folk. We don't get many true Fae in this place, other than the Bear King himself. And he's mostly denounced that. As far as your friend being Tabaxi, they typically serve as the guards and spies and assassins for the Fae. So he would probably best keep an eye out. There might be some that might take his presence as being confrontational if they believe that he's one of the god
Well, thank you for the heads up.
Certainly, I should have said something sooner before you came in. I thought I had. But just keep an eye out. If you need a safe place to stay, again, I'll set up camp here, and I don't need to sleep, so I'll keep an eye out.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Of course. He goes back to tending to the crowd and sort of playing up the showmanship of some of the other animals there. So the two of you head back to the tavern. Okay. While they're gone, yeah, you guys can roll hit dice if you. I think all you guys are healed, but Freeman.
While they were leaving,
Yeah,
I wanted to be watching to see how people react to Sato, so I probably saw that
you did.
small interaction.
Yeah, you saw that confrontation at the door, and you saw that human make his way over with some of the other companions that he's with over to a table, a little bit ways off from yours.
Okay. I'm just going to keep an eye on them.
Okay.
A little bit.
As you all are sitting there, though, after about a minute or so, eating, there's a shifting of a chair, and a figure standing next to your table that you recognize, Star. As you've been keeping an eye on him, you see this person approach and sort of looks at the chair and says, "Do you all mind if I sit here?"
Not at all. The more the merrier. It's nice to see someone so friendly as well. We're new to the city.
Says, "You do have the look of travelers." Sits down and looks at you sort of discerningly, and looks around at the rest and says, "Well done, recognizing me when you came in. I did not know if you would be as acute as I thought you'd be."
I've used the exact same disguise before. I was wondering if we had similar tastes.
Well, I suppose so. I'm glad to see you all made it safely. And picked up a new friend. Or two.
It's a weird story.
I suppose so. Most stories are here. And you all see the person sitting before you. You see the resemblance to the tabaxi that you saw before, now in human form. And he looks over to Freeman and says, "Is this one with you?"
He is. He's one of our crew.
Pleasure to meet you. What is your name?
Freeman.
Freeman. My name is Ice. I believe I introduced myself to the rest of you.
Nice to meet you. Just let it sink in.
He's been practicing.
He says, "Was that the pun?"
Rusty now.
Everything that I've learned to this point leads me to believe that yes, it was a pun.
He chuckles and says, "You keep interesting company." He looks at you, Star. He says, "I'm sure you might be aware at this point that our kind are not welcome here for the most part. You might want to consider disguising yourself a bit if you're planning on spending any time in the city."
I have the means to do so if necessary.
He says, "I have a tent set up just outside the longhouse. It might be good for us to speak there. Enjoy your food, and we'll speak more when there aren't so many people around. Fair?"
Fair. We'll enjoy ourselves like a good tourist should.
Good. I welcome you all to Bjornheim. It's good to see travelers here. Pats you on the back and says, "We'll talk more soon." And stands up from the table and goes walking out towards the exit of the long hall just as Lucius and Sado enter and make their way back to the table.
Yeah, so people here aren't going to be really friendly, Star, so we got to be careful.
I can enchant a disguise if we need to wander around or see anyone important for a short period of time. I'll work on something a bit less taxing as and when I can, but hiding the fur in the ears may not be easy.
Yeah, we might have to,
Shave you.
Well, I don't want to encourage anything, but I do think...
Let's do that one.
No,
Let
I was
us
just gonna
encourage
say,
shaving.
We're gonna have to be careful for now. Just make sure we're not doing anything that seems evil, I guess. I don't know. I'm sort of used to it by now. Being a half elf and all, but
What, racism?
yeah. I'm just too old to give a shit anymore.
I think this is a more of a classism thing than anything else.
Let's just eat and get out of here.
Yeah. We don't want to draw too much attention.
I'm also tired of sitting around waiting.
I assume you pay your tab, the bartender.
We paid too.
Pay two. You give them the 2 emeralds, and they take a. The bear says, "Thank you."
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for your service.
Begins to sort of clear off the table, taking the remnants of beer. Which, by the way, I sort of glossed over this as you guys were eating. The food was very good. The ale was also, I'd say, up there with ales that you had tried before. Frogabet sitting on the table and sort of trying to drink some of the ale as well. And but the mead is by and far the best that you have ever tasted. There's it has a slight sort of spice to it, enriched with some sort of herbal scent, herbal aroma, but it's sweet, and it is by and far the most delicious mead, if any of you are mead drinkers, that you might have ever come by.
I need to get me some more of that.
Oh, honey.
You've broken Sean.
Guys, my mom told me that I'm not allowed to play with you anymore.
I didn't think this game was going to become so pun-based.
Didn't you and Savannah create an entire city based on puns?
Yeah, and that was as pun-based as this one. So let's fast forward as you pay your tab, and as you are going to leave, there is a commotion, and you hear the sound of a horn blasting across the hall up towards where the tables and the stage is set up, and where the king is sitting. And as the horn blasts, the conversation begins to diminish and die down a bit, and you hear the lumbering of a large form that makes its way across the stage, and there is another large black bear that, carrying the horn, walks to the center stage, wearing a fine, sort of colorful getup, with a purple wide hat and a big feather coming off the back. Kind of tucks the horn underneath its arm and announces to the tavern and says, The Carnival of the Bear King commences in 2 days. Contestants. Points to the side where you see a table set up and a few bears sitting behind it, and there seems to be some sort of parchments and quills set up along this table. And says, "Line up to enter the competitions, should you wish to. The rest, enjoy your food." And sort of takes a very awkward bow and stands back up and goes poof, poof, lumbering back across the stage.
Do we know what kind of competitions?
Does someone want to go ask what kind of competition?
I do. I go ask.
Okay. Anybody going with her?
I'll go with her.
Okay.
I'll go with too.
Hi.
Pull up.
Yeah, I guess this would be no, never mind. This is the first time you met Ryan Freeman.
Yeah.
Not the first time you and Freeman have spoken. All the conversations that you guys have had on the ship have just been riveting so far.
Yeah.
That is not a Warforged pun.
Oh, it is.
Was it? It was. Lies.
I bet it was.
Oh man! So you approach the tables, which are beginning to become sort of overwhelmed by people that are walking up and signing parchments, getting into one of 4 different lines. Are you standing in line, or are you going up and just addressing or approaching somebody to ask?
Is there like a friendly-looking person around?
There are
Standing in line.
Yeah, there are lots of friendly-looking people. None of them are just friendly-looking when Star or Saddle are around. You see a dwarven woman sitting at a table, eating and talking with a human man that is sitting across from her, and they're sort of smiling. And as you approach, they look up and they kind of raise their glasses to you.
Excuse me.
Yeah, how can I help you?
Yeah, we're not from here. We're just visiting.
I didn't think so. You don't look like you're from here. Are you? You look like you might be from Obhane. Are you from Obhane?
Nah, yeah, I'm from a real small town. You probably never heard
Welcome.
of it. Thanks. We're just wondering, what sort of competitions?
Is this your first time at the carnival?
Yeah.
Well, you're in for a treat, whether you wish to partake or not. Competition is pretty fierce, so if you're a first timer, you might want to watch it first before entering. But typically 4 competitions stand out the most, are the most competitive. There are other games and stuff that you can partake in as well. There are food eating contests. There is axe throwing, tree climbing, and then by and far the most popular are the wrestling matches.
I'm sorry, did you say wrestling?
I did say wrestling.
Thank you very much.
Of course. You're in for a treat. I hope you enjoy it. And of course, if you see you around, we'll get you a drink sometime. Always like to treat newcomers to the show, so make sure you get good seats.
Right, will do. What's your name? Sorry.
My name is Wanda.
Right, I'm Den. Thanks for your help.
Of course. Raises her glass to you and goes back talking with her companion.
Freeman,
Den,
I want to wrestle a bear.
I know. God, I know.
I really want to wrestle a bear.
It's in 2 days, right?
We don't have that kind of time. Why do you all have to go get captured?
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
Oh, sorry. I'm at puns still. It's gonna take me a while to get to sarcasm.
You're getting real good at puns. I gotta think about something other than everyone sitting around in chains.
Well, we just got to do that real quick. Be back here in 2 days.
Then I can wrestle a bear.
I think so.
Yeah, that was just sign up and see if we can make it. Is there, as people are getting into lines, is there like a line of especially beefy competitors that looks like it's for wrestling?
Yeah.
Is there a line that says thick as a brick?
So, if you do this, Freeman's definitely going to sign up for the eating contest. Because I'm pretty sure that I can pretty much just drop it all the way through.
That's a great idea.
I don't know that that's how it works, but I think I can pull it off.
Now I'm trying to decide whether Warforged gets some sort of advantage on constitution checks for eating
It's not like
content.
he's gonna throw up.
For the
No.
sake of comedy, I think it should happen.
Like I feel like I have like a garbage disposal in my throat, and I can just like, yeah, and just like toss it up. See, oh god, sorry, I didn't even mean. I'm not even mean to. Sorry,
No, it's fine.
I'm not trying to bring him into this real universe.
Also,
Well, that's all right. Let's just sign up. And if we don't make it back, we just don't make it back.
And that's all right, I think, right?
Should be fine. It's not like we're never gonna come back here anyway.
Well, I think doing something like this shows that we have a little bit of hope.
Okay. I sign up for bear wrestling. Well, just wrestling, but I assume there are going to be bears involved.
There are bears in line, so
Great.
there's a good chance that you're gonna
Yes.
question one of them. And there's this especially large, like panda bear in front of you. I'm bringing all sorts of bears into this. That sort of signs the the paper and turns around to you as you're standing right behind him, just sort of. And sort of goes lumbering around you. Yes.
I'm definitely gonna sign up for the food eating contest. If this happens not this session and like when I'm not here, and it's honey that's being eaten, definitely want to drink oil first so that honey doesn't stick and gum up my works and just like flows right out. That's just throwing that out there into the universe.
Well, we'll work out the details of it.
Okay.
I need a full diagram of
Sure.
of your.
I will draw pictures, and if you subscribe to us today, you can join our Discord, and I will post those pictures for you to see.
All right, and you sign up for the food eating contest, and the bear that's there at the registry table as you sign sort of looks up to you and says, "Scrawny."
Who, me?
No, Freeman.
Oh god, I thought you were talking to me.
Oh yeah, I thought I should. Sorry.
Oh no. Looks at you, Freeman, as you.
I don't know that I have a witty thing to say back to that. I think I'm just gonna touch my torso self-consciously. It's like.
You sign the paper. You both do. Tove, are you entering any of the contests? Like I said, so good.
I don't want to enter the tree climbing contest.
Fair enough. Yeah, you can do that.
Try to conquer her fears. Right? See how it goes.
I mean, you've seen how tall the trees are here. That's
They're really tall.
they are very tall, but you.
Yeah.
You're not contractually bound to enter if you sign a paper. Just gauging interest.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign up for climbing trees.
All right, you sign up as well.
Awesome.
Okay. So you all three enter the contest, make your way back. Where you meet up with the rest of your group. Where are you guys going?
We gotta be back in 2 days.
Okay.
I signed up to wrestle the bear.
Okay, we're coming back in 2 days.
Okay.
So we go see your dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys make outside the longhouse, or make your way outside the longhouse. Okay. You head outside, looking around as the din of the tavern, falls behind you. Looking out, you can see continued caravans being set up, tents being set up as well. This kind of growing atmosphere of the city as people are still coming in through the gates, travelers and such. You see Iagla, now with a fairly sizable crowd gathered around his tent, currently enamoring all of them with these strange creatures that he has brought along all this way. And I'd say Den and Star, as you, with your passive perceptions, looking around, you two notice, always off, there's a moderately sized tent, muted colors, browns and greens, and sitting outside the tent in the same cloak on a stool, currently looks like carving something, sitting in his lap, is that same human man. Looks to be your father. Still in his human disguise.
Just want to make sure we're not being watched as we're walking through quickly. Can I roll a perception check for that?
Sure.
Me too.
Uh, 28.
Nice.
I'm going to take your silence as yes.
Oh, sorry, I nodded. Yeah, I should have verbalized that. Yes.
28.
Twinsies. The two of you look around. There are people that watch you for a bit. Not in a sinister way. As you make your way between these tents, people will draw attention to you if they are around, or will turn their attention to you if you're all around. You're all strange-looking people. You've got two mechanical entities that are walking around with you, and you draw some attention. But it does not appear that anybody's being followed, and their looks don't linger as soon as you kind of make eye contact with them.
Yeah, just go and approach the tent then.
Okay. As you're approaching the tent, your father gives a nod and says, back already. Please come and join me in my tent. I have some refreshments, and we can talk in there. It's a bit hot out here anyway. And opens this fold of the tent for you to enter.
Yeah, I go in.
Okay. You all make your way inside. Sans Didar. I assume Didar's gonna have a hard time fitting inside the tent with the rest of you.
Yeah, he can hang out, keep watch.
Yeah.
Can I stay right by? I mean, I'll go in, but can I stay right by the opening, the door type thing?
Yes, you can. You try to keep an eye outside, or just stay by the opening just in case.
If I can see outside from where I am, that'd be cool. My primary concern is just to be.
Yeah, I mean,
right by the door.
It's it's a tent. It's not too difficult to just kind of peek outside and keep an eye out just in case. So you can definitely do that.
I'm gonna grab Totobet off of Didar.
Okay, you take Totobet off Didar. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have to make a decision about who's gonna be more permanently holding Totobet.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So for right now, I'm gonna say until further notice, Tova is holding Totobet, and we will. If anybody wants to pass her around to hold on to her, they can at that point. I don't know if you want to mark her in your inventory or something.
I'll make a little note.
And you guys still have the sprite that's with you.
I keep him with me if he'll stay with me.
Yeah, he'll just hang out with you. Hasn't really been saying much. Ate a little bit of the food, but it's been quiet. You all enter and find a place to sit, mostly pillows and blankets and things scattered around for you to sit. It's a bit tight as you all make your way into the darkened interior. A little bit light comes from a lantern that's hanging at the center of it, which ice turns on. He looks around all of you as the flap of the tent closes, and as he does, there's this shimmering as the illusion fades, and you see the same white furred tabaxi, shaved heads, tattoos down the sides, bit of flare in the hair, and he sits down with a heavy sigh, cross-legged on the floor. I have to say, I'm glad that you all made it. Like I said before, I really am. I have not been looking forward to this conversation, though. Looking at you, Star.
Yes.
He kind of gives a smile, some tabaxi incisors sort of gleaming in a little bit of the light, and says, I don't suppose your mother has said much about me.
Not really. I only really found out about Captain Gold when I finally decided to ask her about it and why you left and where you were going.
How are the gold pirates doing?
The last ones we saw were doing all right. They got tangled up in a rather nasty mess.
Did they? I know there was a bit of trouble when I left regarding some inscrutable practices that had been forced upon us. I got some information, but I know it had something to do with Roran and the transporting of people. Has all that been resolved?
Yeah, I got eaten by a kraken.
That is not what I was expecting you to say. And you lived. That's impressive.
If it wasn't for my friends and especially Tove here, I probably wouldn't have.
I'm glad that you all have traveled with Star for this long then and kept him safe. I'm a bit out of sorts. It's been a long time since I left and came here. I've been here for about 10 years by my perspective at this point, since I came back. I don't suppose for you it's only been a few weeks, maybe?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, that...
The first thing you'll need to know is time passes a bit differently here. A bit faster. You could spend a lifetime here, and a year passes in Sartia. I can't explain it. I don't know why or how, but that is always how it's been. So, when I came back, I've been making my way through reorienting myself to the way of things. Not much has changed.
So you came back. Why were you here before then?
This is where I was born. It's a long story, and I don't know if you're interested in hearing it. It's not...
If we get the time, sure. But there are pressing matters right now.
Yes, I assume you're friends. One of which you've already found, it seems. I can tell you what I know, and I can help you what I can, but if your intention is to turn back and head straight into the belly of the beast, I can't help you much there.
Well, Freeman filled us in on that prospect, and I think we're going to go for the unusual, careful, and deliberate planning until it all goes horribly wrong.
Good. I think that's the best way here. There are plots and schemes and centuries-old conflicts here that, if you are not careful, you could end up in the middle of. I want to help you. I really do. And I have some suggestions. But there's only so much that I can do. I can't be seen outside of this place. I've been very careful not to let my masters know that I am here.
The Queen of Night and Magic.
Yes. It's difficult to explain, but she is the... Well, I am one of her... was one of her guards. As far as she knows, I'm dead at this point. So I need to be careful being back. She has spies everywhere. I fear it is only a matter of time before she discovers me. But I want to help you while you're here, and I think you can help me as well. I've come back here to try to fix things, to stop the kidnapping of our people, to give us our freedom again. Well, the freedom that we never had. I'm hoping you can help me. As you can probably tell, there is a lot going on here that overlaps with Sartia and other planes. People that are brought here against their will. And the Queen of Night and Magic and the Queen of Witches, they maintain the borders, they let people in, but they control who leaves.
So in order to leave, we either need to get on the really good sides of either of them, or somehow find a way to access their power.
Neither one of which is is going to be an easy task. The only way to pass through, as you said, is going to be to, with their favor, which is how I have passed over the boundaries in the past, or, as you said, using their powers, or with their deaths, which, as you can probably guess, is also not an easy task.
They said that about the Kraken, so...
I'm sure that killing such a beast was difficult, but Krakens can be felled by magical or normal weaponry. The Fae here are truly immortal. Well, I suppose your friend here, and he looks over to Star, or Sadel, and says, might understand a bit of that. I'm assuming you feel a bit different since upon arriving.
Do I?
You do. I recall at the last session, aches and pains sort of diminishing.
Yes.
Things feeling a little bit better. Actually, he says, "Hold out your hand." He pulls out a blade, a dagger, and says, "It'll be fine, trust me," and cuts you across the palm. And as he cuts him, blood begins to run as normal. And you watch as the cut slowly begins to heal.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Says, "Now you are not full-blooded elf, I am aware of. So you'll find yourself healing a bit better here than you might have before. Might feel a little bit better. Also not going to age as fast. You could probably live here for a few millennia longer. Though eventually you would succumb to old age due to your mortal blood. The Fae, on the other hand, the true elves that came here and made their lives here, their powers are much greater. This dagger would do nothing against them." Sort of sticks it into the ground to make a point. He says, "Your weapons," points to you, Dan, and you, Star. Says, "I assume they are magically enchanted."
Yes.
Would do very little to nothing against them. Some of the ones with diminished power, some of the lesser Fae, you may still put up a fight. They may still have some effect, but to the Bear King, the Queen of Night and Magic, the Queen of Witches, it would be as if throwing paper at a lion.
What if these Fae were to encounter one another and get in a direct fight? Would their immortality protect them both as they fought, or would they overcome it?
They typically rely on magic. Spell work, they're still susceptible to these things. Fire, ice. These powers can still transcend, but the weaponry won't do much. And even with magic, many of them have enormous control over it, canceling its effects and resisting it beyond normal capabilities. The only way to hurt one of them is with pure magic itself. And weapons like these will do almost nothing.
When he says pure magic, would Lou know what he's talking about? Is it just like magic itself, or
He's just talking about spells.
Okay, all right, cool.
Spells.
I didn't know if it was like you have to harness the power of the source or something.
No, just putting flavor. Okay. He does continue. He says, "But it wasn't always that way, and that's why I've been here trying to figure out, find ways of circumventing that to free our people, because I fear that as long as these Fey lords and ladies live, they will return. We can escape. You can close the boundaries as you did in Graudar, but it only delays the inevitable. They have already, or I'm sure are very close to reopening that border. And that's why we need weapons like this." And he pulls out a short sword from his side and puts it out in front of you.
I examine the short sword.
You pull it out of its sheath, and it is an ivory-colored blade that, by all accounts, doesn't look special. It doesn't have special like rune work or anything in it. It just looks like a short sword made of white metal. He looks at it. He motions. He says, "Examine it. The power of this blade, or the blades of its kind, did not come from the spells that are woven into it or its enchantment, but rather the method of its crafting. That is cold forged steel. And it is the only thing that can hurt or kill one of the lords and ladies of these lands."
Are you aware of where more of these weapons could be, or where they could be forged?
That is the trouble. These weapons were rather popular some time ago. Crafting a smithing practice that was brought here by the first elves and the dwarves that called the Starlight Mountains home. Bloody conflicts and destruction followed. Many powerful lords and ladies were overthrown. Wars on a massive scale that have never been seen again here. And that is when the Queen of Night and Magic took her throne. And since that point, the practice of forging steel in this way has been outlawed. The master craftsmen that once knew these practices have been executed or locked away far from where any know where they exist. And any weapons that were made during this time have either been destroyed or lost as well.
No offense, but I thought you said you were going to help.
I do want to. I really do. And I have ideas. I have plans. I'm trying, along with others of this place that have been accepting of my words, to locate this lost knowledge, these weapons, hoping to convince the other Tabaxi that live here that there is a better way of life. And, and I wouldn't speak this too loudly, to strike down the Fey lords and ladies and find their way home once again. As far as how, or where, or when, I was hoping the illustrious Gale Force might have some ideas. Even when I had left, your works and your accomplishments had reached fairly far and wide.
You said that the craftsmen who made these weapons were either executed or taken.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone know where those who were not killed were thrown into a deep dark cell, or
Perhaps if your the Fae here are immortal. A typical prison isn't what we're looking for. Something that rare would be guarded in a vault like a treasure now.
Especially, like you said, if they are immortal here. It's not like they would be going anywhere or they would die of old age.
You are correct on both counts. I believe that the Fae, that the queens have kept this knowledge in fear that it might one day need to be used. That he holds up the short sword. He says, "That is how I got this. This is how I received this blade. I do not know where it came from. I do not know where the knowledge is kept, but I believe much the same, that it is kept somewhere. They are too conniving and too manipulative to simply destroy it in hopes that further bloodshed will not be needed."
Out of the two queens, who would be... How do I put it? Who would be the easiest to talk to? If at all possible. If we were to try to ingratiate ourselves into one court or another, which one would be easier to do so?
I suppose that is based on personal preference. I believe it is as if the sheep asking which lion would be better to invite to dinner. They are both dangerous, and they're both difficult to approach. Which one is less likely to kill you outright? The Queen of Witches would probably be more amenable to that. She is looking for allies. However, the Queen of Night and Magic, she would be more likely to simply execute you on the spot.
And it's the Queen of Night and Magic that has our crew, right?
No.
Okay, so it's the Queen of Witches that has our crew. Shit.
He says, the balance of power here is tenuous at best. The only thing that has kept either side, the Night Fae and the Dusk Fae, from tearing each other to pieces, has been the Feywilds themselves. The Lord of the River, the Lord of Bears, and the Lord of the Wild Hunt maintain their neutrality. If either side were to pledge their allegiance to one or the other, that is when you would see destruction and the end of one of the queens. And that is what each side has been working for a few thousand years now. To sway the kings one way or another.
Do you know if there'd be a way to quickly garner or at least gain an audience with any of the kings?
Your mic is doing the thing again, but I think I understood what you said.
Sorry.
It says, well, I suppose that is why I asked you to meet me here. The King of the Rivers is probably the most difficult to approach. Well, he and the Lord of the Wild Hunt. The two of them would be very difficult to have as allies and to approach in any sort of meaningful discussion. Lord of the Wild Hunt would be more likely to kill you on sight. the Lord of the Rivers is unpredictable. However, the Carnival of the Bear King is soon at hand. And old Honeypaws is in a better mood now than he would be for most of the year. It might be easier to earn his favor during this time. In fact, during the carnival, as you may have gathered, there are a series of contests to take place. And the Bear King's favorite contest is that of the wrestling. In fact, he has been known to take all challengers, promising an immense sum to any that could best him in a challenge of strength and skill. I don't suppose any of you would be interested in taking up such a feat.
Looks to Den, who's probably actually flexing her muscles right now. We have a Den.
Yeah, no, I don't think we know anybody that would.
No, there's no one in our crew that would do such a thing. It's maybe Freeman, maybe, but.
He says, nobody has been able to beat him in, well, ever. But you all newcomers here, perhaps you have some skills and abilities that might aid you in this matter. If you can best him in the challenge of strength, perhaps you could get his ear, and we can work out the details of earning his favor to our cause. As you can tell, they aren't a big fan of the way things are here.
And they already have something against at least the agents of one side.
But we will drink and discuss this further. Because right now we're going to take a quick break. Because this is going to, I don't want the conversation to continue to go. We'll continue the conversation.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. So don't worry about it. So we'll pause right now and we'll come back and continue to discuss. Riveting. So 10 minutes, everyone? All right.
The tension will be unbearable.
I mean, this pause is going to be so great for everybody.
You guys shut up! I want to come back and wrestle a bear!
All right.
For real.
Just go to break. Cut the food. Welcome back again, everyone. Sorry, had a little bit of technical difficulties. Freeman had to install an update. So somebody was asking something. Please continue.
I would like to know how I go about challenging the Bear King to wrestling.
Right. Not many people do it, but once the wrestling matches conclude, typically after he's had his fill of mead, the Bear King issues a challenge to any who would wish to face him, and no one ever stands up.
Oh, that's way easier than I thought it was going to be.
It's, again, not many people do it. I don't know how strong he is. I don't know if it's blustering or if you should be as afraid as most people seem to be, but...
Well, I don't imagine most people want to wrestle a king.
No.
Seems like a good way to get your head chopped off.
Also true. But always seems in good spirits about it. And always offers a champion's purse to any who succeeds, so... You're welcome to try. Yes.
Is this Bear King anywhere where I might spy upon him and gauge him?
He sits right up on a big throne in the middle of that longhouse that you guys were at.
By chance, has it been roughly a minute?
You guys spent a long time in there.
Okay.
I'm willing to retcon and say that you probably have gathered a little bit of understanding based on your ability.
Yeah, I want to know how strong he be.
Okay. Do you know? So what are the parameters of that? Does it just?
I lost it on my sheet in Roll20. Hold on, let me look it up. I think I have to like.
I can't remember if it's.
I can't remember if it's you or me. Let me see that. Looking up right now. Hold on, I'm almost there.
That's okay. If I remember right, I think it's whether he's like
know your
his
enemy
score is higher or lower than yours.
Oh yes, yeah, equal, superior, or inferior. Basically.
Okay.
I'm going for strength.
Okay, and what is your strength score?
20.
Okay, superior.
Okay. All right. I'll pass that along to my little buddy.
And I'm equally as strong as Freeman now. Cool.
He's strong.
Good to know.
Well, wrestling isn't always about strength.
You're very right. Sorry, the street dog. Quiet.
And I can give you, again, this little bit of meta knowledge that I think you would know is that strength or like wrestling would be an athletics check, which I think you're proficient in.
Heck yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Great. You guys got any ideas to, I don't know, like make sure I win? Not that I don't believe I can win, but I feel like we don't want to risk this one.
Okay, this may sound odd, but what if you don't need to win, just make an impression? We need him to listen to us. Well, yes, proving your strength would help if you just gave him a long, satisfying match, one that challenged his prowess.
Okay, but I want to win, so... Also, there's like money involved. And...
Just gotta go 6 rounds with the Bear King. That's all you gotta do.
And also, it's sort of like a point of pride. I'd like to try to win. And I feel like winning would be good.
How big is this feller? I was going to gauge people by whether they're medium or large.
At the size that you saw him sitting up there, he was equivalent to a medium creature.
Okay. All right.
On the larger size of medium.
Oh, sure.
Still medium.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Like,
I mean,
I've
could,
got a spell I can cast on myself, but if you guys had any like extra ideas.
I could cast something on you that would make you a little stronger.
Which is...
It's just, in game terms, it's skill empowerment. So I choose one skill in which the target is proficient and isn't already benefiting from an effect such as expertise, and it doubles the proficiency bonus.
Sweet, I can give myself advantage.
What?
That's super sick.
Okay, so wait, we got expertise, and then you can do enhance
I
ability.
have enhance ability, so I can give myself advantage on strength checks.
Oh, what? You can give it-
I
Yeah.
could cast enlarge on you, but you'd have to get it done within a minute. I'd
Mine
have to
lasts-
sit right up front, and you'd have to finish that in a minute.
Yeah, mine would
Will
last
that
for
actually make me
I think-
stronger?
I think.
Enlarge.
Well, I mean, this is Sean. Like, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that would give her additional advantage that enhance ability doesn't give her, but I think it would give the bear disadvantage on doing shit.
Yeah, so if a creature is a size larger than you, then yeah, you have it has advantage when trying to grapple you. You have disadvantage trying to grapple.
Okay, so yeah, that giving the size would give the bear disadvantage.
That would be sick.
It's enlarge, right? Doesn't that up the attack damage as well
We're
by
not
like a
doing
D4?
damage, we're wrestling.
Yeah, so no
okay.
damage.
So
all
Okay.
check checks,
Be a
yeah.
size higher, and then she'd have advantage on
Advantage
strength
on, yeah.
and strength checks and strength saving throws.
Gotcha,
So
gotcha.
so that would give me the advantage anyway.
I will also point out that most of these abilities, enhance ability, the skill empowerment, isn't going to have like much of a visual sort of effect.
That might be
she would
seen.
noticeably go from about 5'5".
No, oh no, 5 foot.
Okay, she will noticeably go
She's
from about
5
5 foot
foot.
to about 10 feet. So that's gonna, people are gonna notice
Ice,
that,
do you
especially
think
if you
that
have
would
to go
classify
within a
as
minute
cheating?
of the match. That is up to
You
you.
just need to be on stilts and like wear a big thing so you look big.
I'll just sit
Very-
on
very
your shoulders and we'll wear a trench coat.
So you look big coming into it, and then we just make you bigger, and no
Yeah.
one knows.
Ice is just sitting there at this moment and going, and this is how you saved countries at this
Hey,
point.
there are no
Trench
bad
coat, to be
ideas in
honest.
brainstorming.
All right. I'm going to sit back and let you work your magic at
Do
this point.
you, Ice, think that maybe the enlarging thing might be seen as cheating?
Yeah.
I would venture to say that typically challengers in the wrestling matches might bestow some magical prowess upon themselves, as it is seen an enhancement of their natural abilities. If you were to suddenly grow twice the size of what you are now, unless you could play that off as being something that you can naturally do, which if you can give a performance like that, then you might be okay there. I don't imagine many have seen Triton in these lands, so it's up to
Got
you.
a few days, we could maybe make a performance out of it. Like, look at this magical size change in
You
person.
could put me in the zoo.
Y'all two have to focus on that while you're helping her out.
Yes, I have to concentrate on it.
All right. Well, I was thinking maybe if we could make her look little, even when she's big. But I don't know. We'd have to make some. You wouldn't happen to do that, would you, Lucy?
What, be able to make her smaller?
Just look that way.
To do that and have it move with her would be a very powerful illusion.
Let's see what this one says.
Just so we're all aware, you guys know that I can do stuff like cover my entire body in lightning and like fly.
That's very true.
I feel like maybe
We
we could pass
are
me off as
aware.
also being able to make myself taller. I don't know. Just
Maybe
thought.
we can get you some nice shoes with a little bit of lift.
Also, keep in mind, unless we can disguise Saddle efficiently, any suspicion anything, if he is seen around you, it may naturally just cast suspicion due to people's prejudices around here.
That is a fair point. Not many elves find their way to viewing these competitions. If you could perhaps pass yourself off as a human for the day or for the remainder of your time here.
Yeah, you look 100% human to me. I don't know. I can never tell difference.
Yeah, Sean, what in Sarthia, in this world, what
in
other than the
Sarthia?
ear- other than like pointed ears, like is there other traits that are specifically it screams elven?
As far as true elves typically a little bit thinner, a little bit taller than most. They might have distinctive sort of jaw lines that are a little bit sort of unnatural to what you'd see like a human have. And then, of course, the ears also being a dead giveaway. As far as a half elf, I mean, Sadel covering his ears could pass himself off as a human. It's really just a matter of having the pointed ears.
Anybody got a hat?
We actually have a very fancy blue hat in the bag of holding that I found a really, really long time ago. I don't know if you all remember that time we fought the furniture.
Oh, I remember.
That hat is still in the bag. With a matching robe, if I might add.
Yeah. And the carpets.
Didn't
Do
you
with
almost
that
get
what you will.
suffocated by a carpet?
Yes.
So do with that information what you will.
I also have a multitude of scarves.
I'll wear the hat.
No, you'll look awful pretty.
Do you put it on now?
Yeah.
You take out this big, wide-brimmed, beautiful blue hat. Just stick it down over his head. It's a little tight. You kind of have to wiggle it on. And the sides of it sort of sloop down a bit, which helps because it, for the most part, obscures your ears from anyone that doesn't sort of peek underneath.
Does he look like an old, like, southern grandma?
Yeah, a little bit.
You look amazing. I love it. It's perfect.
Let's get this over with.
Wait, so are we doing the enlarge thing or not? No? Alright.
Well, you got this, Din. You know what you're doing.
In order to not be seen, I'll probably be sticking to the shadows while you're all wandering around. I may be able to keep an eye on what's going on around as well.
I think I'll just lean down, like tap her forehead and be like,
Think big.
I says, well, we have this idea then. This is wonderful. I'm thrilled that you've all seemed creative and skilled enough. So once we are able to speak with the Bear King, then what? What is your plan for convincing them to turn against the other Fey nobles?
That's not my skill set, so.
For now, the most important thing would be enough to prove that it can be done. That may mean focusing on being able to find more of these weapons or the ability to forge them as soon as possible. By my understanding, one of the main reasons this doesn't happen is being before due to the balance of power or it just not being possible.
That seems a fair point. I think that would be fairly persuasive. As I said, I don't think it would take much convincing to have old Honeypaws admit his distaste for the other Fae nobility. Actively working against them is something that I think will take some convincing. But I think there is something to be said for proving yourself and then finding out what he thinks and what suggestions he might have. Like I said, I don't imagine, at least from what I've observed being here, that any love is lost between him and his siblings. So, 2 days to kill then.
Well, we have those 2 days, while you've been here a while, anyone who may have information on, for now, general hiding places either of the queens may use. I've been thinking about this. I don't think they'd keep anyone who knows these secrets inside their own castles. It's too dangerous to keep their one being getting the wrong idea equal a knife in the throat. Someone a ways away where time and news could travel would allow them to prepare.
I have some contacts within the guard that might have some ideas for the Queen of Knights and Magic, finding out where she might keep something of that nature. Currently working towards that. Might need some more help there. Might need to infiltrate the city ourselves. As far as Turgalak and the Ember Citadel, I did meet somebody recently that is currently scouting the area and hoping I'll hear back from him soon. Doesn't seem to be much of a fan of them either. So hopefully they will find something that I was not able to during my time there. But as soon as I find anything, I will definitely let you know. The other concern to potentially mention at this time is that while the Queen of the Queen of Witches does not have many allies in love within the Fey nobles, she does have a powerful alliance with the giant folk that call her domain home. The Jarls of Ard Crosstame, they would be willing to fight for her at this point. It does give her an advantage in the same way that having the allegiance of the Tabaxi that reside within the Lion's Den give Cathar Solas its advantage. Worth saying there as well. I can give you more information on people in this area and some of the groups if you feel like you need it, but we should pursue this first, see where this goes.
If we fix one lead, that will make it easier to get another.
And that is something to consider. If we turn against one or another of the queens, the other will simply move in and fill that vacuum. So, if we don't kill both, you have to be ready to contend with the other. And I don't imagine you're a big fan of the Queen of Witches at this point. And I'm not the biggest fan of the Queen of Night. So, for now though, I think I'm getting a bit weary. Getting a little bit old to stay up for as long as I have been. I'm going to turn in for a bit. If you need anything or wish to explore the city, feel free. I'd just be careful looking to Star and Zado. The two of you try to stay out of sight.
I'll probably stop by and find you some point tomorrow to talk.
Of course. I'm more than willing to tell you everything that I know, and if you have any questions, I'll answer them the best I can.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. We have someone we can stay with.
He gives a nod and looks like he's about to say something to you, and then sort of holds back. Sorry, that's my cat in the background trying to. Didn't want that door closed for some reason. So, anything you guys want to do for the next day or so? I assume you guys go turn in or get some rest. Time doesn't really pass, so it's not really night. See, people seem to sleep whenever they feel like sleeping. Yeah.
I want to do a sending spell to
Okay.
Holly and see if I can get through. I'm making the assumption there's probably going to be barriers against magic, but I try anyway.
Okay. Roll D100 for me.
How do? Which one is the first digit?
The tens.
I rolled a 00
Oh shit.
and a 9.
Oh, okay.
I don't know
So
what that means.
so that would just be 9.
9.
So you send the spell, or you cast a spell, and you feel something repel your efforts. You push through and you try to push through it, and it just seems to be blocking you. I'm gonna say at this point you get a pretty good understanding. So typically the sending spell, if you're trying to cast to other planes of existence, has a 5% chance of failing. Whatever magical boundaries exist between the Shadow Desolation and the Feywild and the Starlight Mountains, there is an almost pseudo-planar boundary there. But there is some presence, some magical presence, that is sort of repelling travel between those places. And some warding. You imagine with enough effort, you might be able to get it through, but it's going to be a low chance. And in out of game terms, the spell has a 50% chance of failing if you want cast in this place. And you get that from casting it this one time.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else anybody wants to do? In the coming day as well. So we can go ahead and skip the night and go into the next day if you want to do that. You guys all get a rest if you need to. Go ahead.
Yeah, just Settle, you have a set of thieves' tools on you, right?
Yes, I do.
Would I be able to borrow them for a while? I seem to have misplaced mine.
Sure. I'll give him my thieves' tools.
All right. You have your thieves' tools. Are you going to go do any thieving, or are you just borrowing them?
Just in case for now.
Okay.
Is this city, how do I put it? Like, is there like a library or anything in this city that we could see, or is it just kind of like a peasant town?
So it's definitely not a peasant town. I mean, it is, you know, it's not a small hamlet or anything. I mean, this is a large city. I'd say you probably have some time to do some walking around. You're gathering the bears aren't big on reading. There doesn't seem to be any sort of repository or any sort of book learning place around here.
So we're not going to meet a librarian.
No.
Yes.
No, you make your way around. There are a number of some smithies. There are some carpenters and other sort of general craftsman shops set up throughout, and those are most of the standing buildings. And there are some storage houses that are well guarded that seem to store some of the grains and honeys and other things that are kept and traded here. And then the main central building is this longhouse, which does look like it has other rooms to it and might have like an undercroft or something beneath. You can try to sneak down there if you want to, but you get the impression you see doors that are well guarded. It doesn't seem like they let people down there who are not part of the Bear King's entourage.
No, that's okay.
But just making your way around the city itself, doesn't seem to be any sort of library. Anybody else doing anything with their... Yes, Freeman.
May I walk about the town and see if there are any old gray bears who might have old war stories, and tell me what about the battles and wars that you talked about earlier, and maybe I can get some sort of some lowdown, the tactics of this queen. That's what I want to know about.
All right.
From one vet to another.
Go ahead. I'm trying to think. So you make your way around the city. I think you do find some, I was going to say grizzled bears, and then I realized what I was saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. You find some grizzled old bears, some grizzled old grizzly bears that are hanging out outside the walls of the city, or kind of up near the walls of the city, and one of them's kind of leaning up against, and he's got this... he's got some like scars that kind of come through the fur a bit, places where the fur is no longer growing. And he's sitting on a bench, and he's got this wide sort of hat on to block the sun, and has this massive like pipe that he is currently smoking, and just these plumes of black smoke kind of rising up from underneath the hat.
Then I'll just try to speak like the bear that we met in the bar, and I'll just be like,
fighter.
He nods and says, "What was?"
Stories.
Make a persuasion check. I'm gonna...
lol. Alright.
I'm gonna give you advantage, just like war vet.
Okay. Alright. With advantage, I got an 11.
11.
Versus a -1.
That would have been worse.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not... I mean, that's above average.
Sure.
And he's not a very friendly looking bear, but he's also... I think there's a little bit of a connection that you might be able to push, but he's not going to necessarily regale you with the story of his life. So he sort of gives a nod and sort of leans in, looking at you like, what do you want to know?
You ever seen the queen fight?
His kind of lips curl back in that like grisly way, like when they're growling or roaring. And Barriers is like kind of yellowed and nasty plaque covered teeth, and you hear this deep kind of this noise echo from deep within his belly. Sort of akin to a laugh, and he kind of and he gives a nod. He said, "Once Long time ago. He kind of looks up at the sky. Fire. Rocks. Fall. Killed. Friends. Powerful. Never again.
Where is she weak?
Don't know.
Who does?
Dead, maybe.
Where are the dead?
Gives you a discerning look, and he looks at the ground. It kind of picks up to the side. You see a kind of knotted piece of wood. Looks like a cane. He takes it and sort of scratches a few things in the ground. And you see him sort of draw out the outskirts of like a mountain range and water and another mountain range. He essentially draws it very similarly to the sort of map that you saw before. And he sticks the cane down in it. Oh, that's not the tool I wanted to use. About in this area.
Okay. East of the Lion's Den?
Yeah, east of the Lion's Den, and a little bit west of Bjornheim, just towards the outskirts of the Starlight Mountains. I'm not too far from where you're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, battle. Long ago. Before born. Elves die. Dead stay. Dead talk.
Thank you.
Takes a long drag on the pipe and lets out a plume of smoke and just gives a nod and sort of sits back. Kind of takes one big bare foot and just wipes away what he drew on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And just tilts his head down.
And I clomp away.
Okay. Clomp, 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 clomp. Anybody else doing anything before the festival?
Maybe help our new friend get some more audience.
Yeah.
Help him out with his show somehow. I don't know if it's like a show or it's just like a display.
It's more of an attraction. He doesn't really do anything with the animals other than reveal their cages and then sort of talks them up in a little bit of that sort of used car salesman vibe that you got before, where he talks about the creature and he says, this shadow beast caught deep within the far-off wastes of grey at the edge of the shadowed desolation. I trapped it within a cave, and I found it feeding on the bones of orphaned children. And, you know, sort of giving like this very grisly description of how he caught these creatures and their sort of fierceness. And Tova, I mean, you're pretty discerning. You've got a passive insight of like 1 million. So
yeah,
you quickly catch up. I mean, most of these stories are completely made up, other than the fact that he probably caught these creatures. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, maybe Maybe I sort of like go around town and be like, have you guys seen the animals? You know, sort of a word of mouth.
Yeah, I think you do that. So you just go around and just sort of plug to people, and like you see a group of just towns.
Rustic hospitality. I feel like I could talk to common folk.
Yeah. Yeah, that would definitely be applicable, and you're able to approach them on sort of their own level, and talk to them plainly. And if you look up, say, "Yeah, what kind of creatures?"
Oh, all sorts. They're from all over the place, and a few of them are very dangerous. If you haven't seen them, you should take a look. They're pretty fantastic.
Make a persuasion check with advantage.
Okay. With advantage, okay. I don't remember what my persuasion. Oh, real good. That's a 24.
Okay, that is very good. And they say, all right, we'll go show us the way. We'll go look at it, and they sort of follow along with you, and you get a pretty sizable crowd, and bring it back to Iago's tent and August caravan, and he gives his full display and wows them with his fanciful descriptions of these creatures. And sort of skipping forward, I think towards the end when people begin to taper off and things kind of go into a lull as he's taking a break, he comes over to you and says, "Oh, that was not needed, but I greatly appreciate that. Well, here, I should return the favor." And he reaches over and into the bucket he has his side and pulls out a rather heaping sum of emeralds and hands them over to you and says, "Here, your share of doing business. You're pretty good at that."
I just have a way with people sometimes, so not everybody, but I feel like I get along with some of the folk here pretty well.
Well, if you and your friends end up concluding your business and you need some employment, I definitely have a place for you here. But he hands you your emeralds, and I'd say you get about, say 50 emeralds.
Oh, okay. Might need these later, so excellent.
So you have those. They're roughly the size of coins, about equivalent in weight and size to about 50 gold coins.
Okay. And then I also might practice climbing some trees
Okay,
in just off downtime.
you can do that. And you go out to the outskirts beyond the bee fields and see these massive trees and do some practice scaling. I'm imagining like the sun isn't set, so I really wanted there to be a moon up, and I'm really going through like the Mulan training montage, going to scale the tree.
Exactly. It's epic and amazing.
Yeah. You must be swift as the rage. No,
Yes.
I don't know the words. Yeah, so you do that. Anybody else want to do anything?
I'm gonna spot Tova as she climbs trees.
Fair enough.
Just remember, Dan, spoons, not forks. Spoons.
But I always just no. Okay.
So, anything else? Star, any dramatic conversations with your father?
Yeah, I guess.
This would be the time to do it, unless you want to do it after the carnival.
I will go and do it now.
All right. You different song. What was that one? You go back to his tent. He's sitting outside, continuing to whittle this small statue, which is sort of beginning to take form. And it looks like a small sort of four-legged creature. It doesn't have much more shape than that at this point. And he sees you and he takes his dagger and sheaths it. Says, "Do you want to talk?
Yeah.
Come in."
in.
He opens the tent and heads inside. Follow him through. The tent closes and he sits down, places the object to the side. Says, "So, I assume you might have some questions for me."
A lot. Mother never mentioned you growing up. I never heard anything. I'm one of the ones that got marked for being brought back here years ago, and
I am aware of that. That's one of the reasons I left. I suppose you deserve to know. You deserve the truth and understand why I wasn't there when you were around. I know I don't deserve any sort of forgiveness or understanding, but I'm hoping that I can at least tell you why things happened the way they did. As I said, I was born here. In the lion's den. With many of our kind that live here. And like many of our kind, when I reached adulthood, I was trained and became a member of the Bjorn. The guard, the royal guard of the Fae in Catersalas. I did well, very well. I was quick, quiet, and knew my way around the blade, much like yourself. I was recruited by the Celestial Spire as an assassin. I was tasked with eliminating many of the Fae nobles that once called it home. I was given these tasks by the Queen herself. And after successfully killing many of her adversaries, her competition, she took a liking to me, hired me as a personal attendant, gifted me with powers. He nods for a second, and you see his form kind of shift as he takes the form of that human again. And he nods again, and suddenly takes the form of an elf. Nods again, he takes the form of a Triton. And he nods, and he turns back into his normal self again. Says, "That is only one of my gifts that I've been given. I worked for her for a few dozen years. I was given a special mission to serve as an ambassador to the material plane. I traveled to the city of 10,000 steps, and I delivered the messages of the Celestial Spire to the council. And I did that many times. However, in my many travels, coming to and from the portal to City of 10,000 Steps, making my way through the jungles, I passed through a small village. And it was there that I met your mother. We spoke often. She was bored in that small town and intelligent, and well, she knew what she wanted. And I fell for her. eventually I started spending more time there and less time here. And then from that, you came. And things were okay for a while. Your mother wasn't happy that I kept leaving, and I couldn't tell her why. It would have only put her in danger. But one time, the last time, that I made the trip from here to Graudar, when I came home, I learned that you were to be marked, as so many were by my orders. And it was at that time that I understood the gravity of what I was doing, and that I was condemning my own son to a life of servitude in the way that I had lived my entire life. I love my queen. I truly did. But I loved jungle as well. And I loved you. And I couldn't reconcile the three. And in a moment of weakness, I ran away from all of it. I left. I found the gold pirates and I joined. And I didn't look back for some time. And then I heard about a white-furred tabaxi that was making a name for himself in Irandal and had joined a crew that called themselves Gale Force. And I learned what you had done in Graudar. And I learned that you had the bravery that I never did. So I decided to come back and fix what I had left broken for so long. And he sort of sits back again and waits to see what you say.
As far as she's aware, you're just another pirate or daring rogue who's not just promise me one thing for when all this is done, for when we've killed the queens and stopped everything. Just go back and see her. She's angry, but she definitely misses you.
If that is what you want, I will. I don't expect that she will welcome me with open arms.
When I went back to see her after being gone, she nearly stabbed me with a kitchen knife.
That sounds about right. She would threaten me with a knife almost every time I returned after being gone for weeks or months.
I think the worst point was daily after I put tarantulas in one of the elders' hoods.
That would probably do it. She has a fierce temper, but I think it comes from a place of love. Well, I have to say, I was worried there would be more yelling.
Honestly, I was expecting to meet you in some tavern somewhere and start to fight and just yell and shout about it. I finding you here was the last thing I expected.
I have to admit, I feel much the same way. I have to hope that wherever the six are, perhaps there is some destiny or fate or something that brought us back together. Or just the terrible luck of our family.
I'm sure one way or another will either make it right or make everything go so catastrophically wrong that it somehow turns out right.
I have to hope so. Well, let's hope this next tomorrow goes well, and your friend is as strong as it seems she is, and this might end up turning out in our favor.
I'll be amazed if she doesn't win. She's done amazing things.
I can't wait to see it. Well, perhaps we need a drink then.
Yeah, sure. Hang on. I'll just disguise self to similar sort of disguise with the...
He gives a big smile and he says, like father, like son, I suppose. And he waves his hand and casts disguise self on himself as well, taking his human form. The two of you go to the to the longhouse and spend the next hour exactly drinking and enjoying yourselves. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to do before we skip forward to the carnival?
Does Tova successfully climb any trees?
I feel like probably.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say you were pretty good at climbing, athletics, and things like that. I think that without the competition stuff, you're able to kind of get over that fear and kind of be ready for whatever this might have in store. And so, yes, you do successfully climb the tree.
Yeah, I'd probably start with shorter trees first.
Yeah. You're still pretty tall, but yeah, you are able to successfully climb a few of them. So you all, some of you tired from a day climbing trees, some of you disappointed from lack of books and libraries, others learning war stories and having moments to reunite family members, make your way back to your caravan where you're sleeping. I don't know if there's anything you guys want to play out there, any sharing of information or conversation. No. Okay. The dawn of the next day. You wake the following morning, which the sun doesn't change, but you all get a decent night's sleep, to the sound of a blaring horn, similar to what you heard before. And you hear the trumpets fanfaring, and you hear people beginning to commotion as they come about as they are emerging from their tents and coming out into the square surrounding the longhouse and preparing for the day's events. And there, overnight, the area has transformed. There are sort of bleachers set up at the very exit of the longhouse, at the farthest end of it, away from where the Bear King sits. There has been a space that has been cleared out, and the bleachers have been sort of set up in a semicircle, kind of looking towards the entryway of the longhouse, and there is a sort of festival of events happening within there. There are people juggling fire. There are entertainers doing somersaults and acrobatics and all sorts of performances going on to a small crowd of people that are beginning to gather. You can hear inside the longhouse there are all sorts of sort of carnival foods and games being cooked and performed. You see bears giving out free food and small jars of honey and mead, and everything is sort of overflowing with this energy and excitement, and these long sort of banners hanging from the rafters of the Bear King's Hall, giving this colorful and vibrant atmosphere. So you guys can enjoy the festivities in the morning the best you to whatever extent you wish as you prepare for your events later. And about a few hours or closer into the beginning of the festival, there are the blaring of trumpets and the food eating contest is set to begin. And Freeman, you've spent your life preparing for this. So anything you want to do as you prepare yourself for your event?
I guess that depends on my anatomy, but I like the idea that maybe me drinking some oil beforehand keeps all the inner stuff, so like keeps free from sticking or anything. So it's going to be a clean sweep. Get rid of anything that I might be eating, because I figure it's going to be a lot of honey, and I don't want that stuff to stick up and gunk up my works. So I'm going to get a nice coating of oil in there first.
Okay. This is
important to me.
No, I think that's totally fair. I think with somebody in the group has oil or something they can use for it. Sadil, definitely. So I think with Sadil's ingenuity, you're able to get Freeman, well, there are probably better terms, but all lubed up.
Let's get Freeman oiled up.
Yeah. I don't know if I have the anatomy to gargle, but I would be gargling oil right now.
All right. Yeah. No, I think you're getting yourself ready for that.
Yeah. So yeah,
I'm trying to decide. Well, okay. So here's what. So you get yourself ready for this.
I'm imagining this is just like a chute, it just like goes straight through in like a slide and just like
yeah.
But I don't know.
No. I imagine that Warforged do have some sort of internal storage components to them.
What I'm trying to do is I want to make sure that after today, they ban Warforged from these contests.
Yeah.
That's what I want them to do. I want them to never allow a Warforged to do this ever again. I want to...
I think that's fair. Because I think you go and you... I don't even know if there's a check for this. I think it's just that happened.
I don't know.
Because I'm like, I feel like I should make a constitution check, but that doesn't make sense. Like, you're not... It's just passing through you. It's just...
The D&D rules.
Yeah. No. It's up to you.
No.
However you want Warforged to be.
This is so brilliant that I just want it to work. So here's what I think happens. You go and you go to sit down at this long table, and there are about half a dozen bears, some dwarves, halflings, humans, a pretty wide mix. A lot of bears there too, all kind of hunched over the table. Everybody looking at each other. Some of them a little bit more cheery, look like they've been drinking, not really taking this seriously. Others of them looking like competitive. And there's one grizzly bear sitting right across from you that just looks like wearing like a t-shirt that says like competitive eater on it. Like, he carnival food contest champion 2015. Like he's got he looks like he's the boss around here, and he sits right across from you and just stares you down. And a lot of people are looking over to you like, what the hell is this person?
Yeah, and just stare back at him with my expressionless way.
Okay, just walks out and just
Iron Giant right back at him, you know.
Yeah. I think he sits there, and for a bit as he's staring, kind of like seeing if you're even like alive.
Yeah. Boo.
And he kind of stays himself and realizing that and sees this and is ready to just show you up. And as you're all sitting there waiting, the fanfare continues again, and you see brought out into the entryway and kind of set right at the entryway of the longhouse. On the other side from where the bleachers are, there is the throne is set there, and then walking around it and then sitting down it with a heavy cracking thud is the Bear King to observe this competition. It has the same sort of dour expression across his face, but there's almost like this hint of a smile, and he has this like kind of rosy complexion a bit more, and just looks a little jollier than he normally does, without inviting the direct Santa Claus comparison. But it's just, it does seem to be in his own dour way looking.
Santa Claus? Is that what you're going for?
Somebody needs to do a count of how many puns there have been in this episode. So
that's a Kodiak moment.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. That's it for now.
And you just lose.
I'm sure
you just lose.
Oh, I got another pun brewing.
I'm gonna let you.
No one got that, but it was really good.
Bruins, I got that one.
Yeah.
I'm so done with today. Anyway, so you sit down at this table, and suddenly coming from behind the Bear King, there's this kind of wafting of smells and this delightful procession of bears that come up from behind him, each one carrying platters of large amounts and large quantities of food that are all brought before each one of you in this domed or covered platter that is just set before you. And the that same extravagantly dressed barred bear from before steps out in front of the king and blows the horn again, and holds out a hand in the same awkward way, goes, "Eat." And all the platters or the covers are lifted, revealing a massive quantity of honey buns before each one of you. And everyone begins to devour them. And again, there's not really a check for you to make. You're just stuffing them into your mechanical mouth. You just eat them. I didn't think how broken a Warforged would make this contest. But I don't want to ruin it with a check. So I'm just going to say, you just begin to shove, like Iron Giant style. I'm still imagining you're just opening your mouth and just shoving the honey bun in, and it just kind of sticks down a bit, and you shove the next one in. They all just kind of sticking down into like a Pez dispenser of honey buns. And the bear is sitting across from you and just like and just stuffing them into his mouth one after another, and watching you as you're just emotionless, just continuing to eat one after another. And he's keeping pace for a while, and as this competition continues, he slowly begins to die down, and the others around the table begin to step back from their plates. One by one, people begin to fall off, but not Freeman, who just continues to eat. And everyone around is sort of watching curiously. The Bear King sort of leans forward a bit in his in his chair, and everyone's just watching what now, after 5 minutes or so, dwindles down to just Freeman and this grizzly bear just one after another stuffing the honey buns into their face until another platter is brought out and another, and the grizzly bear is beginning to grow silent, just kind of and just getting to that point where he wants to stop, but he just keeps shoving them in. And Freeman is beginning to see little bits of like bread kind of poking out the gaps as you just continue to shove them in. It's like leaking honey out of some of the joints, but just not even feeling it. Just continue to eat them until finally the grizzly bear across you takes one more of the honey buns and goes to start to eat it and just drops it and just
I hold up on my platter. Okay.
Yeah, he just turns around and just retches across the ground. Everyone, they all just kind of like cheers and gasps, and there's this like weird combination of people being horrified and yet entertained by this, as Freeman just takes like 3 more of the honey buns and shoves them in.
And then I break the platter into pieces and start like pushing that down the throat too, just to make a point.
And you do, and everyone in the audience goes from like cheering. Whoops! I saw that, and the the bard bear, the announcer bear, the herald, I'm just going to say that, says, winner, Freeman. And everyone begins to clap, and you see the bear king kind of leans back and looks over to to one of the bears beside him, begins to kind of whisper something, and you're sure it's no more like him in the competition.
Yeah. I think when I stand up to it, I realize like all my joints are kind of sticky with honey, just like
Yeah.
like I'm like, oh, not enough oil.
Yeah, the oil did a bit, and a few of the honey buns you ate first kind of like fall out as you stand up.
It's like,
but one of the bears comes up to you and hands you a pouch full of emeralds and gives that to you. So you get for your win in the competition, you get 100 emeralds.
hey, party find.
Yeah. And everybody cheers, and there's some more performances that go, and you go and return to your group. I don't know if anyone wants to congratulate Freeman on this victory.
I just want to know the volume of a Warforged.
Somebody's gonna do the math on that, because
if every honey bun is 3 ounces.
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably around like 80 to 100 honey buns, somewhere around there. That's what I'm going with. Yeah.
There's something that sounds so nice about 100 honey buns. Just saying that makes me a little bit happy.
All right, you had 100 honey buns.
Honey bun.
And so the next contest begins shortly. The axe throwing contest, which I don't think any of you entered in. There's a beautiful display of people hurling sharp objects at boards, and it's impressive and dismaying at the same time. There's a victor crowned and some applause, and the next contest begins. The tree climbing contest. As you all kind of stand around this in these bleachers again and look, the contest is announced, and everybody is asked to come to the arena. Essentially, you head over Tova as one of the.
What? Do you want a little boost?
What kind of boost?
I don't know. What do you think would be most helpful?
Mm.
Is this like a dex Dexterity-based contest.
No, this would be strength based.
Strength.
I'm gonna cast Enhance Ability on Tova and give her Bull's strength.
Now, Tova, do you have the thing with the running up walls and stuff yet, or?
I do. I might be gaming the system as well.
I need to know what the limits of that ability are. Is there a limit, or is it just as long as you run, you can run up and down?
It's on my turn. I can just run. Hang on, let me pull it up. I was looking at it just. Oh. Unarmored movement. There it is.
Because you guys are about to break another one of my contests. Under.
I move along vertical surfaces on my turn without falling during the move.
Okay, so you can run up on your turn, and then you have to, essentially at the end of your turn, you have to stop.
I have to find something to grab onto, probably.
But then you can just run. Oh my god. Okay, so what's your speed again?
45, but if I use dash, then it's 90. If I use Step of the Wind, it's even faster.
What's the most you can move on a single turn?
Oh, okay. So if I use my action to dash and then my bonus action to do Step of the Wind, so that's like a double dash. So that's three times.
90,
yeah, 90 and then another 45.
Well, and then there's just a discrepancy of whether that doubles it again. You go to 180 instead of 100.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
All right, we're not even gonna have to do another check for this one, because here's what happens. And this is something impressive first before this happens. So as you all stand around there and you're like, where's the tree? This is a tree climbing contest. This hunched over bear comes out of the long hall and hands an item to the Bear King. Reaches over and picks up, it looks like a tiny pebble. And he holds it near his mouth and kind of whispers something. Then he takes it and just tosses it forward. As he does, it kind of lands straight at the center of this dirt area. And you watch as a tiny sapling begins to emerge from it. And the sapling grows larger and larger, and then suddenly shoots straight up as this massive tree just emerges from the ground and extends 100, 200 feet above you, just up and up and up and up and up and up and up, and then stops. And it's just towering above you. At this point, there's gasps and cries in the crowd as people have seen this and probably seen this before and are grossly entertained by it. And then one of the bears to the side, and again, I didn't even think about this comparison until I said that earlier, takes an arrow, notches it, and fires it, goes, knocks itself about 200 feet up on the tree.
Okay.
Everyone gathers around the edge of it.
So before we start, I feel like, I don't know. So Tova is afraid of heights. So I feel like I might have to roll to overcome that maybe at some point.
Well, that's going to be right about the time where your speed runs out.
Yeah. So
I think here's what happens. Yeah, here's what happens here. A couple of bears and you and a couple of the humans all gather around and look at each other. And the bear, the herald, blows the horn once again, raises his arm, and says, "Climb!" And as he does, everyone rushes to the tree and just begins to climb up as fast as they can. And you all watch Tova just Naruto style just run straight up the tree and just going, I mean, 30 times faster than anybody else is even trying to climb the tree at this point. It just runs and runs and runs and runs and runs, and most of the climbers kind of stop for a second and watch her go just straight up towards that arrow. And you run as fast and as hard as you can. Your muscles are burning, and you are just scaling the tree, one just light footfall after the other, and you get just about to where the arrow is. And at that point, you look down as your momentum begins to peak, and you see just this drop underneath you. Go ahead and make me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. Natural 20!
Nice! So, in that
Oh
moment,
my gosh.
you look down, you look back up at the arrow, you remember the times that you've fallen off of things in the recent months, and you just steady yourself, your heart kind of steadies, and you reach up and you grab onto one of these kind of thinner branches protruding from the lower boughs. You grab onto that as your momentum runs out, and it gives you just enough moment to swing off of it and get yourself that second round of movement. And you climb up, grab the arrow before anyone is even able to get about 20 feet off the ground. And you also have the monk thing where you can just fall forever, if I remember right. Or are you gonna?
Yeah, slow fall, but I mean, I can sort of like bounce from limb to limb, because I don't think she's gonna jump straight off of that.
No, I think what happens is you turn, you skid, and then you actually run back down the tree another like 50 or 60 feet until you get within a more reasonable height. You leap off, somersault a few times in the air, and then superhero landing on the ground.
Yes.
And everyone else is about 35 feet off the tree at this point. And there is this like stunned silence as everyone just gasps and then begin to applaud just uproariously in that moment. People standing up in the bleachers, clapping. People, the people that were also contesting, or the other contestants, begin to kind of climb back down in a sulking way. Most of them look very impressed and begin to walk up to you and look at you and, how did you do that? And, looking very stunned and wanting to get some tips from you for how to walk up trees.
Do my best to try to describe it, but
Yeah.
it's a lot of training.
And so they congratulate you, and you are given a champion's purse as well for your efforts. Another 100 emeralds. And I just want to give you the perspective. The emeralds here are spent like gold coins. I mean, these emeralds to you, this is a pretty penny. If you guys were to get these back, this would be a lot of gold. That they just throw around here like they're nothing. So.
Oh, Lou is aware.
Yeah. So you guys have those. So now you guys have your 200 emeralds between you. With a kind of a slight grin across his face, the Bear King holds up a hand and whispers something else, and you watch as the tree begins to sort of break away into leaves all across it, and the whole thing just sort of blows away in the wind, and these colorful sort of autumn leaves that swirl up and then are cast off into the distance. And everyone oohs and ahs and applauds at that. And then the main event, as the contestants come out for the wrestling matches. There is a bear that stands in the center. This one has wider fur, sort of like a polar bear, a little bit of greenish tint because it is not in the right climate for polar bears. And he holds a bucket that seems to have a collection of stones in them. And one by one, or in pairs, the stones are drawn and the names are read as the pairings of this. Based on the way it's explained to you, it's not necessarily like there's going to be a victor, but everybody's going to be matched up and wrestle, and the winners get rewards and prizes for it. So a few matches begin. You have some bears facing off against each other, bear against bear, human against human, bear versus human, bear versus halfling. Halfling actually wins that one. And then eventually it gets to Den. And Den, as you are sort of preparing yourself and limbering up, are you taking off your armor and stuff for this to...
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be easier without the armor. There is another lot is drawn and it's read off, and you look across to see your competitor, which unfortunately is not a bear. It is the human, the broad-shouldered human that ran into Saddle the day before.
Oh, I'm gonna eat his lunch.
Do you want the thing?
Should I save it for the bear king?
How long does it last?
An hour, and I can do it 5 times.
Oh, yep. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Boop. Eat him.
Are you doing your thing too, Den?
Oh yes, I also enhance ability on myself to give myself advantage on strength.
All right. You're both ushered
Which
into
I'm really
the ring.
sad is not Bear's strength.
No, it's not. You're both ushered into a ring that is set up, and the two of you are squared off against each other as the herald raises a hand once again, and there's a lull that goes to the crowd. The human man, pretty bulky, taller than you, kind of growling in your direction and gives a nod, kind of begrudging respect, not knowing your relationship to the guy he was super rude to before.
I am like...
Yeah, and then he gets a little
If
bit...
looks could kill.
He balks at that slightly. And the hand goes down, and the bear says, "Wrestle!" And you both kind of lock with each other and begin to wrestle. So, I gotta grab my dice. I just realized I don't have them. So, the...
What have you been doing this whole game?
I haven't had to roll anything this entire game. It's a lot like when we play Apocrypha.
Neither have we.
Yeah, that's true. You guys haven't had to roll anything either. First rolls of the night. So you, the two of you, lock onto each other and begin to wrestle. So I need you to make it's going to be contested athletics checks.
Okay.
Go ahead and make your first check.
So I have advantage.
Yes.
And then I get double my proficiency bonus.
Yes.
That puts me at a plus 13.
All right.
No, wait.
4 times 2 plus 5.
13.
All right.
I was right the first time.
Go
Plus
for it.
13. It's like so many.
How many?
32. Eat it!
So, yeah, I'm not even... Listen, I'm not going to act this one out. You're going to win this fight. So the way that this works is essentially you both roll. Whoever wins gets the pin. And then for each successive win you had in the contestants, you get the points, and the 5 points win. There are a lot of rules that went into these contests that I came up with before. You guys have just thrown them out the window. It was gone. So for this fight, you're fighting against a mortal man who cannot compete with this ferocity, and you grab him by the shoulders and just flat out pick him up and just throw him to the ground, which might be illegal, but you do it, and the air is just knocked out of him in that moment. He kind of gasps, and you just stand there over him, like shoulders pinned to the ground, and he cannot move, and just tries to grab you and throw you to the side, and you just lock onto him with that ferocious stare. And after a few seconds of awkwardness, everyone realizes that you have clearly won this match. He's not even can't even compete with this. And
as he's laying there, I'm gonna like put my elbow like between his shoulder blades and just like press in a little bit.
He goes,
And then we get real close to him. and be like, you need to learn some respect.
What did I do to you?
Not me. But hey, you tried to rough up one of my friends.
You see him going back through his mind, and probably he's tried to rough up a lot of people in the last few days, and he's
It's
not
alright.
entirely sure what it
Don't
is.
hurt yourself. I'm watching you.
Okay. All right. I submit.
I
and-
slap him on the back.
And go, and he gets back up and goes like, just fleeing away. And the bears, everybody gives out an applause, and
That's what we do to racists in this town.
and you are given your winner. It's not as big because there are so many matches and so many victors that go to this, but you do get 50 emeralds for your win there. However, you're given large applause for your decisive victory, and the competitions wear on, and people begin to cheer until finally there is a bit of a lull as the carnival is coming to an end, and at that point the everyone looks expectantly towards the Bear King, who gives out kind of a half grin, stands up, looks around.
Any who wish to challenge me, step forward.
There like ale and stuff around.
There is, yeah, there's a
Great.
excessive amount.
I do a Thor. I'm gonna like snatch a tankard or whatever off of the table. I just like take a huge swig. I take a huge swig and I'm just gonna smash it on the ground. I step forward and I say, I challenge the Bear King.
He
It's very dramatic.
looks down at you. Takes off his glasses. He looks down at you.
I accept your challenge.
And goes stepping down off the platform. And everyone around the audience is just stunned and looking over at you and watching you as you make your way towards the arena. The Bear King comes walking around. It's a deep growl and has and you can see as he has a human face, though covered in hair. His legs are bear-like instead of feet. They're like bare feet. His bare feet are bare feet, and he has what look like fur-covered hands with claws on them, and steps into the circle. You step in as well.
Let's do this.
The herald steps forward, looks a little bit worried.
Wrestle.
And goes stepping back. And the Bear King faces off with you and goes lunging in your direction.
Oh god, I'm so nervous.
All right. So, for the first check, go ahead and make your roll.
Okay. Natural 20.
Yeah, he did not roll well on that one. So, at which point
33.
you go rushing up to him, you meet him dead on, lock your hands onto his shoulders and push him back, and kind of slamming him down to one knee. At that point, he looks up at you with a bit of shock across his face, and the audience gasps in response. And you see this like grin kind of curl across the corners of the mouth and showing kind of these sharpened teeth as he looks up, and he says,
Interesting.
And he, as he looks up at you, as his smile continues, you watch as it sort of morphs, and his fur becomes longer and shaggier, and he grows in size until standing before you is a large bear. Shaggy fur, same kind of look, of the same eyes as before, lets out a billowing roar right in your face, again, like Revenant style, and then lunges back at you.
I go, I knew it!
So he's going to make his check. He is now a size larger than you.
Oh, no.
However, you have you had advantage, so that's going to cancel out, and we're just going to go straight rolls.
Oh, no. Okay.
However, you have him on the ropes now, so each successive win you have gives you a point.
Okay. Oh, man. 27.
Yeah, you win. I rolled really bad on that one. So you slam him down on the... Sorry, I'm trying to get this die. This one is screwing me over.
Stop delaying the inevitable.
You slam him down on the ground and push him back even further, even with his massive bear form trying to push against you, still overpowering him. So you have 1 point at this point. Roll again.
That was not as good. 18?
I only rolled a 13. I'm rolling real bad right now. You then whip around and actually throw him on his back to the ground, kind of flipping the bear over, and lets out another billowing roar as you do, and slams into the ground, unable to respond to your just overwhelming sort of superiority at that point. Roll again.
Okay.
2 points.
Okay. 27.
I rolled a freaking 2. So I cannot roll. I've rolled 2 4s and a 2 at this point. You then continue to like pin him to the ground. He's just trying to pull you off of him as you're just holding him to the ground. So it's 3 points for you. Go ahead and roll again.
25.
I rolled another 2.
Eat it, Bear King!
And you continue to hold him to the ground. He's just trying to pull you off of him. And as the herald is beginning to raise his arm to call the match, go and roll your last, hopefully last check.
Natural 20!
I finally rolled above a 2. I rolled a 15. That puts me at a 24.
I want everyone to know that I gave this dice another chance because this is the die that rolled the 1 on the saving throw against the Death Knight.
And as the Bear King is unable to pull himself up off the ground through a series of very fortunate rolls and magical power, the herald puts down his arm and says, "Winner!" and sort of backs up as the bear on the ground suddenly stops resisting and stops thrashing and just looks up at you. What do you do?
I look back at him. Well, I get off him, I guess.
You get off him. Okay.
Oh yeah, I don't.
There's no.
I just sit there.
Gonna do the same thing you did with the other guy.
No.
He
No.
pulls himself up, and in the bear form, still his massive form, looking down at you, just. Follow. She begins to walk back towards the longhouse.
I follow him.
Okay. You follow the Bear King back to the longhouse. Rest of your crew looking on as Den disappears in the darkness behind the form of this massive bear. And that's where we're going to go ahead and end our session for tonight.
That was way better than my last bear fight.
Yeah, I'd say so. I don't know what's going on. I'm done. I like it better when
I
you don't
am your
know.
king now.
Yeah. Well done. Well done,
Okay.
Den. That was quite a showing. Okay, so you guys are gonna yell at me if I don't put the song on, so I'm gonna do it. Thank you everyone for watching. we're going to go ahead and call it here for the evening. I can't believe everything that happened here. I'm going to have to stew on this for a while.
Next time, make everything 10 times harder.
Yeah, no, this was great. I didn't even think about the fact that I had 3 people in the party that skills just rendered these challenges meaningless.
Well, I could have lost.
You could have.
That's true.
To be fair, let me put it this. He had a +9, and you had a +13.
I regularly have a +9. That's my normal.
Yeah.
With all
the skills and stuff, definitely stacked to your advantage. That was brilliant. Good job. So thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back again next week. Until next time, tune in for Monday. We have Apocrypha. We have Tidefall on Thursday, and then the following Monday we will have Wild Space. All of those games are awesome, especially Apocrypha. I don't know why the DM or the game master of this game is just amazing, even though he forgets that it's MC and not game master. Like I said, thank you everyone for watching. Check us out on YouTube if you have missed any of our shows. We had a one-shot that we didn't do live on the channel. That's a YouTube exclusive. Go check it out there. It was a bit weird, but it was a lot of fun to do. In the meantime, check out our Twitter, and you can enter in our giveaway that is still ongoing to give away a copy of Mordenkind's Tome of Foes, as well as some GGK stickers and some other fun stuff if we hit certain Twitch goals. So check it all out. Thank you everyone for watching, and tune in again next time to see how this goes. Until then, good game, and good night, Internet.
Good night, Internet.
Good night, Internet.